Chapter 939. Arriving at Wang Mingqian's imperial study room, he took out the beast skin book that he had obtained in the Qingyun Mystery Land. This was left behind by the guardian of the Qingyun mystic realm under the command of the 10,000 Dragons Branch Hall in the Valley of Beasts. Wang Mingqian took the beast skin book and examined it carefully. After a long time, he sighed. I didn't expect that the demonic beast riot that year would even affect such an extremely secretive secret realm. It seems that the cultivators stationed in the other secret realms in the Valley of Beasts are also in danger. Wang Daoyuan took out a storage bag and said, "This is the purple cloudwood core that I obtained in the Qingyun mystic realm. After tens of thousands of years, many purple cloudwood cores have withered and died, leaving behind many purple cloudwood cores. I picked up more than 500 pieces. There are still hundreds of living purple cloud trees in the Qingyun mystic realm. Most of them still have the purple cloud tree heart. It's useless for me to keep these things anyway. You can deal with them." This time, even Wang Mingqian was a little surprised. How could there be so many purple cloudwood cores in such a small Qingyun mystery land? "Father, should we open up the other secret realms as well?" There were more than 20 arcane realms in the Yan Kingdom. If all of them are developed, the family's resources will be greatly improved. Wang Daoyuan shook his head. The family doesn't lack resources, so there's no need to open up a secret realm now. Although these mystic realms had a lot of resources, they still needed people to manage them. If I don't hand it over to a Wang clan disciple, I won't be at ease. If he were to hand it over to the Wang clan's disciples, the large number of secret realms would require many hands to manage. They didn't have enough disciples in the first place, and all of them had gone to the secret realm. They didn't have enough manpower outside, so they couldn't control the important businesses. If these industries were handed over to the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce to manage, there might be a situation where the ministers were strong and the master was weak. By the way, how many clansmen are there in the clan now? Wang Mingqian replied, "The new population policy you proposed has been implemented for more than 20 years, and the clan's population has also skyrocketed. Every pregnant clansman had a sufficient supply of spirit grains. In addition, the rewards for the ordinary clansmen had also increased by quite a bit after giving birth to children with spirit roots. Other than that, children without spirit roots would also be given some spirit grains as a reward. Over the years, the clan's desire to have children had grown even stronger. Currently, there were more than 5,000 cultivators and 2 million ordinary cultivators. With the puppets managing the spirit fields, there is no pressure at all." Over the past 20 years, the population of cultivators had increased by more than 40%, while the number of ordinary clansmen had increased by more than 30%. As the population base increased, as long as the growth rate was maintained, the absolute number of people would increase faster and faster. In a few more decades, the number of cultivators in the clan would reach tens of thousands. Right now, the Wang clan had plenty of resources, but not enough people. Resources would not be a limit to population growth. It should not be difficult to maintain this growth rate. The more cultivators there were, the more geniuses there would be. If the Wang clan had 100,000 cultivators, they would be able to exploit most of the resources in the Yan Kingdom. It seems that this policy is indeed effective. As long as the family and the Yan Kingdom's finances can withstand it, it will continue. For a cultivator clan, the most important things were people and resources. We don't lack resources. The more people, the better. I still have to go back and study the Yi Wood Qinkuan Gourd. I'll leave the matters of the Qingyun Mystery Land to you." With that said, he left Clear Glass City and returned to the underground cave of Jade Spring Peak. The Yi Wood Qinkuan Gourd was personally refined by Daoist Lei Yan, so it couldn't be placed directly in the spiritual pearl space. Otherwise, it might expose the problem of the flow of time. He planned to refine a few more gourds of the same type and place them in the space of the spirit pearl. He would let his clone refine a few groups of farming puppets. The difficulty of refining spatial artifacts was higher. The clone in the space of the spirit pearl did not have much refining experience. It was still necessary for Wang Daoyuan to do it personally. As for the Moon Essence Pearl and Pure Yang Pearl, they were not that difficult. Level 3 artifacts were enough. There was also a spirit fire in the space. It was enough to leave it to Liao Yang and Xue Quan. As a blood demon, Xue Quan's refining skills were not weak. Although there were no more low-grade level 4 gourds, there were still plenty of high-grade level 3 gourds. Wang Daoyuan took out a wood attribute gourd with rich vitality and began refining the Yi Wood Qingkun gourd. A month later, he successfully refined a low-grade level 4 Yi Wood Qingkun gourd with a high-grade level 3 gourd. Things like soil were not difficult. He directly cast an earth attribute spell to condense spiritual energy into soil. This soil also contained some spiritual energy. In the future, the growth rate of the spirit field would be much faster. With the flow of time in the space, he could quickly start planting the purple cloud wood. Of course, the drawbacks of doing this were also very obvious. To plant the purple cloud wood in the future, the soil of more than 100 mu of land would have to be at least 30 meters thick. With so much soil, it was enough to exhaust all of his spiritual energy many times. However, he was in an underground cavern. With the lava providing endless spiritual energy, it did not matter. It would just take a bit more time. After staying in the space of the spirit pearl for more than half a year, he refined 6 low-grade level 4 Yi Wood Qingkun gourds. 6 sets of farming puppets, as well as 6 pairs of pure yang pearl and moon essence pearl, were also refined. The first Yi Wood Qingkun gourd that was refined could already be used to plant level 2 spirit plants. At this time, Wang Mingchen was cultivating in the imperial study after handling official business. Generally, when there were no important matters, Wang Shui and Wang Daochang would take turns with him to handle these official business. After handling it, they would let Wang Mingchen look over. If there were more important matters, the 3 of them would discuss and resolve it together. The one handling official business was Wang Daochang. In front of him were several public communication jade talismans used to receive messages from various places. A jade talisman suddenly flashed in front of him. He picked it up and read it. This person was personally promoted by Zhang Dingming. After Zhang Dingming gave in, this person had cooperated with the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce many times. The Tri-River branch was a level 1 branch. The level 2 branch of the entire Zhao country was under the jurisdiction of the Tri-River branch. This person was considered to be in a high position. His request for an audience had to be treated with caution. Wang Daochang personally walked out of the imperial study and went outside the palace to welcome him into the imperial study. This person was tall and had a simple and honest appearance. However, there was a hidden light in his 2 eyes. If one did not look carefully, one would not be able to notice it. This kind of person was usually simple and honest on the outside but extremely shrewd on the inside. Wang Mingchen and Wang Shui both woke up from their meditation. Li Xing also knew the rules. When he saw Wang Mingchen, he immediately bowed and greeted, "Blood Shadow Tri-River branch. Li Xing greets your majesty." Wang Mingchen waved his hand and said, "Hall Master Li, there is no need to be so courteous. May I know why Hall Master Li is here?" Li Xing cupped his hands and said, "Your Majesty, currently, all the secondary branches under the Tri-River branch have established cooperation with the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce. As long as these businesses are hung with the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's brand, they will immediately become branches of the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce. I am here to ask your Majesty when these businesses can be merged with the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce." Hearing this, Wang Mingchen immediately understood. He was not here to ask about merging with the Chamber of Commerce, but to ask for a title. After all, his surname was not Zhang and he had always been under the protection of the Zhang family. What could he achieve? As the representative of Blood Shadow in Zhao, if he could get a good position in the Chamber of Commerce, his future would be much better than following the Zhang family. This matter was also beneficial to the imperial court. If the cultivators under them all banded together, the imperial court would not be able to control them. Wang Mingchen nodded and said, "Since the business relationship has been established, the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's brand can be hung at any time. However, we still have to inform the Zhao kingdom. After all, the 2 countries are neighboring countries. If we don't inform them and a large number of Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's shops appear in the markets in Zhao Kingdom, the relationship between the two countries will be affected. Hall Masterly, please wait for a few days. I will send someone to Zhao Kingdom to contact them. The relationship between the two countries is very good. This matter should not be a problem. As for Hall Masterly, Father said that you are a great talent and should be entrusted with an important task. Chapter 940. Wang Mingqian's words made Li Sheng overjoyed. Wang Daoyuan was the retired emperor of the Yan kingdom and his words carried more weight than an imperial edict. With this compliment, Li Sheng's future was guaranteed. Li Sheng immediately cupped his hands and said, "You're flattering me. I can only do small things and can't be considered a great talent." Wang Mingqian smiled, "Hall Masterly, you're too humble. You've been in charge of the various branches in the Zhao kingdom for hundreds of years. Even when the Zhao clan restored the kingdom and turned the Zhao kingdom into ruins, the businesses of the various branches were not affected. This is also because of Hall Master Li's leadership. How can you say that you're not a great talent? There are so many branches in the Zhao kingdom and it would be troublesome if all of them were under the management of the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce. I plan to let the Chamber of Commerce follow the blood shadow structure and set up a first and second level branch. A first level branch can be set up in the Three River Market. It's better for Hall Masterly to be the president of the Three River Market. The Yan kingdom has only been established for a few years and we don't have enough manpower. However, we have a lot of territory. If Hall Masterly can make some achievements, it won't be a problem for you to be given a title and land." This was a clear promise. Li Sheng's face was filled with joy. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will repay your kindness with my life." "Hall Masterly, you don't have to be so courteous. I'll send someone to discuss with the Zhao kingdom. All the branches in the Zhao kingdom can be hung with the Chamber of Commerce's name. Hall Masterly, please make the necessary preparations to prevent any mishaps." Li Sheng patted his chest and promised, "Your Majesty, don't worry. With me around, there won't be any problems. I'll return to the Three River Market and prepare to join the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce." Wang Mingqian nodded. "Third uncle, please send Hall Masterly off." Wang Daochang cupped his hands and left the imperial study with Li Sheng. They walked out of the imperial city. When they returned, Wang Mingqian asked, "12th uncle, third uncle, who should we send to the Zhao kingdom? Although the Yan kingdom has a good relationship with the other kingdoms, we don't have anyone in charge of the Honglu temple." Wang Daochang smiled. "Why don't we send Mingshan? He's the son-in-law of the Zhao clan and your blood relative. Sending him over can also show the sincerity of our Wang clan." Wang Shi nodded in agreement. "Daochang's idea is not bad. It's better to send Mingshan to Zhao. His bloodline is closer to yours, and he is also Marquis Yuchuan. His status is more suitable. He also has connections with the kingdom of Zhao. In the future, he will be the most suitable official of the Chamberlain of Dependencies. Since that's the case, summon him over and appoint him as an official of the Chamberlain of Dependencies." Wang Mingqian took out a jade talisman and sent a message to Wang Mingqian. 15 minutes later, Wang Mingqian rushed to Clear Glass City. When he arrived at the imperial study, he bowed to Wang Mingqian and said, "Your Majesty. Brother, you don't have to be so courteous. In the future, when our Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce does business in other countries, it is inevitable that we will have to deal with other countries. Although the Honglu Temple had been established a long time ago, it was only a place for foreign envoys to stay. He had only arranged for a few Zifu realm cultivators to take care of it, and hadn't sent anyone to the other nations. Right now, the clan didn't have many Jindan cultivators. For a Zifu disciple to be an envoy was a bit of a disdain for the other countries. Therefore, we plan to establish the position of an official of the Chamberlain of Dependencies. I have discussed with the 12th uncle and 3rd uncle that you are the most suitable. According to the customs of the various countries, the position of an official of the Chamberlain of Dependencies wasn't low. Although it wasn't as good as Wang Shui and Wang Daochang's left and right prime ministers, it didn't lose to the various palace masters. At least, it was much higher than his current position of Guiyan County's governor. Wang Mingshan cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, Your Majesty. I am willing to be an official of the Chamberlain of Dependencies." Wang Mingshan smiled and said, "Third uncle, prepare the official seal, official robes, and other things for Brother Mingshan. We have to prepare something for the Zhao Kingdom." 3 days later, Wang Mingshan took a flying boat and headed to the Zhao Kingdom's capital, Longyu City. The two places were only tens of thousands of miles apart. A rank 4 flying boat only needed half a day to reach. He came as an envoy of the Yan Kingdom, and the Zhao Kingdom also attached great importance to him. The Zhao Kingdom's Chamberlain of Dependencies, Zhao Qingjie, personally came to Longyu City to welcome him. As soon as he saw Wang Mingshan, he cupped his hands and said, "Nephew, you are finally here. Please come with me to meet the emperor." Zhao Qingjie was the younger brother of the current emperor Zhao. After the 9th prince broke his core and formed his nascent soul, he passed the throne to the crown prince, Zhao Qingxian. Wang Mingshan's wife, Zhao Yuzhen, was Zhao Qingshuan's daughter and Zhao Qingjie's niece. The Zhao Kingdom's Longyu City was 100 miles square. It was much bigger than the Yan Kingdom's Qingli City. Led by Zhao Qingjie, Wang Mingshan entered Longyu City and came to the Imperial Hall in the Zhao Kingdom's Imperial Palace. At this time, only Zhao Qingxian and a few young golden core cultivators were in the hall. Most of the golden core cultivators of the Zhao family who participated in the war to restore the Zhao Kingdom had passed away. Even Lord Linhai and Zhao Lingjiang were getting old. After the Zhao Kingdom's Grand Emperor and Duke Zhenghua broke through to the Yuanning realm, they no longer cared about the kingdom's affairs. The usual affairs of the Zhao Kingdom were managed by Zhao Qingxian and a group of descendants of the Zhao family. Wang Mingshan came to the front of the hall and bowed. Wang Mingshan, the Yan Kingdom's envoy, greets the Zhao Kingdom's emperor. Zhao Qingxian waved his hand and said, "No need to be so polite. Why did the Yan Kingdom's emperor send you here?" Reporting to the Zhao Kingdom, the Yan Kingdom has many industries, but the royal family is short of manpower, so we established the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce to develop various industries. Several years have passed and we have made some achievements. Now we plan to do business in the Zhao Kingdom. Some shops in the Zhao Kingdom are willing to cooperate with the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce. After all, this business is in the Zhao Kingdom. The Yan Kingdom's emperor doesn't want the Zhao Kingdom's emperor to misunderstand, so he sent me to discuss this matter with the Zhao Kingdom. Of course, since we are doing business in the Zhao Kingdom, we will naturally abide by the Zhao Kingdom's laws. Zhao Qingxian nodded. This matter is related to the two kingdoms. I need to discuss it with the ministers. Yan Kingdom's envoy, please stay in the Honglu Temple for the time being. Wang Mingshan cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, Your Majesty. I will take my leave." Then, under Zhao Qingjie's lead, he left the imperial palace and went to the Honglu Temple to wait. This was the diplomatic relationship between the two kingdoms. Before the official business was finished, they couldn't talk about private affairs casually. The Zhao Kingdom's emperor and Wang Mingshan said some polite words and didn't talk about the father-son-in-law relationship. After he left, the Zhao Kingdom's emperor asked, "The Yan Kingdom should have made preparations for this. How should we deal with it?" A middle-aged gold-core middle-stage cultivator replied, "This Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce is clearly a money-making organization of the Yan Kingdom's royal family. I heard that the president is the Yan Kingdom's emperor himself. Their entry into the state of Zhao was a blatant attempt to amass wealth. In my opinion, we absolutely can't agree to this." The Zhao Kingdom's emperor didn't comment. "Yuqi, what do you think?" Zhao Yuqi was the Zhao Kingdom's crown prince, who Wang Daoyuan met when he was traveling in the northern mountains when he was at the foundation establishment stage. Zhao Yuqi cupped his hands and said, "Father, I think there is no harm in agreeing to this matter. As far as I know, this Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce is only a facade in the Yan Kingdom. Under this facade are the various branches of the Blood Shadow. The Yan Kingdom's Empress Dowager is from the Blood Shadow. It is said that she is now a high-level member of the Blood Shadow. The Blood Shadow is a great force passed down from ancient times. Our Zhao kingdom is no match for it. Now that the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce has been established, it means that the Yan kingdom and the Blood Shadow have reached some kind of cooperation. There are already some shops of the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce in the Song kingdom. They must have already discussed with the Yan kingdom. If we object, the Yan kingdom will casually support the Song kingdom in the future, and our Zhao kingdom will be attacked from both sides. Even if the Yan kingdom doesn't make a move personally, the Blood Shadow subordinates are not clean. How many gold core cultivators in our Zhao kingdom are enough for them to kill? The intelligence personnel in the Song kingdom sent news that the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's shops are well behaved. They just do business peacefully and develop the industries in the sky beheading mountain range. They haven't done anything to harm the Song kingdom. Naturally, we don't need to be afraid. The Yan kingdom also has enough space to expand. There is no need to snatch the Zhao kingdom's territory. The Blood Shadow had always been on the upper side. The small forces didn't know about the Blood Shadow. The Zhao kingdom had been the royal family for more than 10,000 years. They had some understanding of the Blood Shadow. Chapter 941. Upon hearing that, the cultivator of Zhao clan who wanted to object stopped talking. Emperor Zhao nodded and said, "What Yuqi said makes sense. The strength of Yan kingdom is not something Zhao kingdom can compare with. If they really want to torture Zhao kingdom, they don't even need to do it themselves. With the skill of Yan kingdom's retired emperor, he can just sell some 5th-grade puppets or flying warships to Song kingdom, and Zhao kingdom's retired emperor and Duke Zhen would be no match for him. At that time, Song kingdom can easily wipe out Zhao kingdom and share the territory with Yan kingdom. What can we do then? Besides, there is still Blood Shadow lurking in the dark. Zhao kingdom has 2 Yuanian cultivators, and Blood Shadow has tens of thousands of years of foundation. How many Yuanian cultivators do they have? You should have heard about Zhao Yang forming his gold core. He did not have the vision of Purple Mansion before. If he can form his gold core with such talent, Yan kingdom must have some special means. With this means, the number of gold core cultivators in Yan kingdom will skyrocket. Our relationship with Yan kingdom has always been good, and we even trade with each other. Zhao kingdom has also earned a lot of energy stones. We can't offend Yan kingdom because of some trivial matter. Everyone in the hall nodded. Offending Yan kingdom because of personal feelings was the same as courting death. Zhao Qingjie cupped his fists and said, "Brother, should we just agree to Yan kingdom's request?" Emperor Zhao shook his head and said, "Yuqi, I'll leave it to you. You and Yu Miao are from the same mother, so you can get closer to each other. Yan kingdom sent my son-in-law here for this purpose, and they are very sincere. You should try your best to fight for it, and get more benefits. In order to restore our kingdom, Zhao clan has paid a great price, and many of our territories have been given away. Under the current situation, we can't expand our territory anymore, so it's not a bad choice to get some benefits through business." Zhao Yuqi cupped his fists and said, "Don't worry, father. I'll try my best to fight for the benefits of Zhao kingdom. Go and have a good talk with your brother-in-law." Zhao Yuqi cupped his fists and said yes, then left the hall and came to Wang Mingshan's place. Wang Mingshan had just arrived. When he saw Zhao Yuqi, he cupped his fists and said, "Your Highness, is because Emperor Zhao has made a decision?" Zhao Yuqi smiled and said, "Of course, father has no opinion, but some of the elders in the clan. Imperial father is currently discussing with them, so he asked me to come over and chat with you first." After all, he was a son-in-law returning to his mother's home. Someone had to attend to him. "Father misses Yu Miao very much, but it's a pity that you didn't bring her here this time. Also, my 2 nephews often come here when they have time." Although we are already citizens of 2 countries, blood ties cannot be severed. Wang Mingshan and Zhao Yuzhen had 2 children, both of whom had spiritual roots. It was a pity that their talents were not very strong and were only above average. Wang Mingshan said with a smile, "I'm here for official business, so it's inconvenient for me to bring my family." Now that Yuzong's cultivation base had reached the peak stage of Violet Palace realm, and he was in the process of comprehending the power of law, it should not take him too long to form his gold core. The spiritual medicines and magic tools needed for core formation had also been prepared for him. Yuzong's innate talent is on par with mine, and he doesn't have any special physique. So, he should have a 90% chance of forming his gold core. The two children were now working in the family business, and their cultivation was improving very quickly. The Wang family had too many resources, but too few clansmen. With their talents and my nurturing, core formation shouldn't be a problem. When I have time, I'll bring you Miao and the children here. Zhao Yuqi was somewhat surprised to hear Wang Mingshan's words. A female cultivator like Zhao Yuzhen, who married into another country, usually did not have a high status because she did not give birth to a talented descendant. Especially when Zhao was weaker than Yan, her status was even lower. He did not expect that the Wang family would be willing to help her form her gold core. They chatted for a long time, then Zhao Yuqi said, "Of course, Imperial Father will agree to let Myriad River's merchant enter Zhao. After all, the two clans are in-laws, which is beneficial to Zhao. But, some of our clansmen can't accept it. Zhao clan has few talents, and the status of these elders is relatively high, so Imperial Father can't just turn them down. Can Yan give us some preferential terms, so that Imperial Father can explain it to our clansmen?" Wang Mingshan smiled and said, "Before I came here, His Majesty had given us the order that the two countries should be united. Now that Yan is not short of resources, it's not a big deal to give us some benefits. How about this? In the future, all the resources purchased from Myriad River's merchant in the name of Zhao Emperor will be given a 10% discount. Although Wang clan is not short of resources, we still have a lot of subordinates to support in the merchant association. Zhao clan should also know about Blood Shadow, and they have a share in Myriad River's merchant association. This is already the limit. If we give away too many benefits, it will be difficult to explain it to them." A 10% discount did not seem to be too big of a concession, but the transaction between the two countries was not a small amount. In a year, there would be at least hundreds of millions of spirit stones. This achievement would be 10 million spirit stones. Although Zhao Yuqi tried to restrain himself, he still showed joy on his face. "Brother-in-law, I'm very satisfied with your offer. I'll report it to Imperial Father." Then, he left Honglu Temple. A quarter of an hour later, he returned to Honglu Temple with Zhao Qingjie. When he saw Wang Mingshan, he said happily, "Brother-in-law, Imperial Father has agreed to this matter. He has appointed me and third uncle to discuss the details of the cooperation with you." The three of them discussed the details of the cooperation and recorded the completed terms in a golden book. Both sides had no objections, so the discussion was relatively fast. It only took them half a day to settle the matter, and Wang Mingshan followed them back to the Imperial Hall. He took out 2 golden books, cupped his fist and said to Emperor Zhao, "Your Majesty, I've reached an agreement with the Minister of Honglu Temple and His Highness the Crown Prince of your country. These are the terms agreed upon. Your Majesty, please take a look." Zhao Yuqi personally took the golden books and presented them to Emperor Zhao. He flipped through them and used his imperial jade seal to stamp the 2 golden books. Zhao Yuqi took one of the golden books and gave it to Wang Mingshan. Emperor Zhao smiled and said, "Now that the official business is settled, it's time to talk about the private affairs. As her father, I haven't seen Yu Miao for more than 100 years since she married me. As for my 2 grandsons, they have cultivated to the realm of Violet Palace realm. As their grandfather, I've never seen them before. I heard Yu Miao is preparing to form her gold core, so I naturally won't delay her cultivation. After she forms her gold core, you must bring her and my 2 grandsons back to visit her mother's home." Wang Mingshan cupped his fist and said, "Father-in-law, don't worry. I'll definitely bring Yu Miao and my children back. I've long wanted to bring Yu Miao to visit my parents, but as the clan leader of Wang clan and the governor of Guiyan County, I'm really busy. Father-in-law, please forgive me for not being able to spare some time." After chatting for half a day, Wang Mingshan finally took his leave. Looking at his departing figure, Emperor Zhao smiled and said, "It was indeed the right choice for father to propose a marriage alliance with Wang clan. After Yuing forms her nascent soul, she will more or less have some say in Wang clan. With her as the link, our relationship with Yan Kingdom will be better. After that, he looked at the few Zhao clansmen in the hall. Although Wang clan used to be a subject of Zhao clan, Yan Kingdom is now one of the top 5 powers in Beiyuan Shouxian, and the strength of Yan Kingdom's retired emperor is the strongest in Beiyuan. Even the other 4 top forces and the Zhou nation treated the Wang clan with respect. Since Blood Shadow is willing to join hands with Yan Kingdom to establish Myriad River's merchant, he must have attached great importance to Yan Kingdom. Therefore, Zhao clan can no longer treat Wang clan with a superior attitude. All of you have experienced the war of restoring the state, and you know how great of a price Zhao clan has paid to achieve what we have today. Don't fight for some useless face and sacrifice the future of Zhao clan. The strength of Yan Kingdom is not something that the 3 major sects can compare with. In those days, we were able to hide in sky-chopping mountain range and Linhai province. If Yan Kingdom strikes, there will be no place for Zhao clan to hide in Beiyuan. Chapter 942. Wang Mingshan took a flying boat back to Qingli City and went to the imperial study. He took out a golden book and said, "Your Majesty, the Zhao Emperor has agreed to let the Thousand Rivers Chamber of Commerce enter the markets in Zhao. This is the letter of credence signed by both parties." Wang Mingshan took the letter and read it carefully. He smiled and said, "It seems that Zhao is more sensible and knows the significance of the Thousand Rivers Chamber of Commerce to Yen. Not only did they agree to let us set up branches in the big markets in the counties, but they also welcome our shops in the small markets in Zhao. Also, they allow us to trade directly with the mines. The conditions are not bad, but we have to pay taxes according to Zhao's laws. Also, the Zhao Emperor will give us a 10% discount when doing business with the Chamber of Commerce in the name of the Zhao Emperor. The Thousand Rivers Chamber of Commerce's flying boats are treated the same as the Yen Imperial Court's flying boats and flying warships. As long as we bypass Zhao's important industries, we can pass through Zhao's territory without any notice. This way, we can pass through Zhao's territory with great fanfare and head south. Along the edge of the Sky Chop Mountain Range, the Thousand Rivers Chamber of Commerce's territory can lead to the southern wilderness. Brother, this is your first diplomatic trip. You've really made a lot of money." Wang Daochang was also delighted. This old family is really generous. Other than the transportation costs, the Chamber of Commerce usually has a 40% or more profit. The transportation costs aren't high either. The things that need to be transported over long distances are elixirs, tools, and talisman arrays. With a 10% discount and taxes, we can still make 20% of the profit. Wang Mingshan smiled and said, "Brother, the family doesn't have enough manpower. We can only let you take on 3 positions. Let the Grand Elder take on more of the family's internal affairs. Third uncle, please help me with the matters of the Chamberlain of Dependencies. In the future, when the Chamber of Commerce expands its business scope, it will inevitably need to communicate with other countries. There will be more places where we need the Honglu Temple." At this time, Wang Daojian and Wang Mingkang also came to the imperial study. They had been summoned by Wang Mingshan. The 2 vice presidents of the Blood Shadow Guild, who were in charge of the Blood Shadow Guild, had to show up for such a big event. Seeing the 2 of them, Wang Mingshan said, "I'll leave the matter of accepting the Blood Shadow branches in Zhao to you. Our Thousand Rivers Chamber of Commerce will follow the Blood Shadow structure and divide it into first-class and second-class branches. The 3 River branch is a first-class branch, while the other branches are second-class. However, Lixing alone controlled more than 10 second-grade branches. His authority was too great. Linchuan County to the south of Qingli County and Heian County to the west of Qingli County were taken out from his hands and placed under the direct control of the headquarters. Lixing will only have less than 10 branches under his control." Wang Daojian nodded. "That's not a problem. However, Lixing has just joined the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce. I'm afraid that he will be dissatisfied if we reduce his power." Wang Mingshan smiled and said, "This isn't a difficult matter. There are still many gaps in the structure of the Chamber of Commerce. Under you 2 branch chairmen are a large number of stewards. It was a good opportunity to set up the position of elder and let Li Xing be the elder. In addition, in the Guiyan County north of the mountain, he was rewarded with a level 4 spiritual vein. Li Xing also has quite a number of family members. The temptation to let him build a family clan in Guiyan County is much greater than managing a few more branches. Then, he passed the golden book to Wang Daojian and Wang Mingkong. This is the condition that the Yan Kingdom and the Zhao Kingdom have discussed. When handling affairs, we will follow this condition. The two of them looked at the golden book and understood the conditions. Then, they took their leave. A day later, more than 10 flying boats set off from the Wanchuan market and went west along the Wanchuan River. The dragon fish flag of the Yan Kingdom was hung on the boats. When the cultivators on the Wanchuan River saw this scene, they all gave way. In less than 10 days, all the shops operated by the Blood Shadow branch in the Zhao Kingdom hung the signboard of the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce. Wang Daoyuan naturally did not care about these things. At this moment, he was teaching his clone Liao Yang and Xue Quan how to refine the Yi Wood Qingkuan gourd. After returning to the Jade Spring Peak, the first Qingkuan gourd he refined had been in the space of the spiritual pearl for about half a year. According to the time in the space of the spiritual pearl, more than 40 years had passed. The entire magic artifact, including the internal space, the moonlight pearl, and the farming puppet were all fine. Basically, it was confirmed that the combination of the few magic artifacts did not have any fatal flaws. Therefore, they could be refined in large quantities. Liao Yang was originally a level 4 weapon refiner. Back then, when he took him down, he used an incomplete doppelganger soul nurturing technique. His cultivation did not have much room for improvement, and the progress of his refining techniques was also very slow. Until now, he could only refine level 4 high-grade magic artifacts. However, the level 3 high-grade Yi Wood gourd could only refine level 4 low-grade magic artifacts. With his level 4 high-grade refining techniques, refining this thing was not difficult at all. Needless to say, Xue Quan was a level 5 mid-grade refining master. Although the magic artifacts of the demon race were very different from the magic artifacts used by the human race, overall, they were all the same. As long as he adapted for a period of time, he could master the refining method. Moreover, he used the complete doppelganger soul nurturing technique to control it. His soul was not seriously damaged. Whether it was his cultivation or refining skills, there was a lot of room for improvement. Now that he was a level 5 high-grade refining master, his refining skills were comparable to Wang Daoyuan's. Ever since he was refined into a doppelganger, Wang Daoyuan let him try to refine the human race's magic artifacts. Now, more than 10 years had passed, and after many practice, refining a level 4 low-grade Qingkuan gourd was no longer a problem. A year later, nearly 100 years had passed in the Spirit Pearl space. The two doppelgangers had refined over 100 Qingkuan gourds. Unfortunately, the level 3 high-grade gourds were all used up, and even the meteorites were not many left. They could no longer refine the Qingkuan gourd, as well as the Moon Essence Pearl and Pure Yang Pearl. With these over 100 gourds, it was equivalent to the Spirit Pearl space expanding by several hundred times. Unfortunately, these gourds could only grow level 4 and below spirit herbs. After all, the grade of magic artifacts was only so high. The spiritual energy absorbed was limited. Planting high-grade spirit herbs simply could not withstand it. Most of the level 4 and below spirit herbs originally planted in the Spirit Pearl space were transplanted into these gourds. The cleared space was all used to plant level 4 and above spirit herbs. These gourds had already been refined for a period of time. Most of the gourds had already nurtured level 3 spirit fields. Among them, over 70 gourds were planted with purple cloud wood. The remaining gourds were planted with foundation establishment pill and purple cloud pill spirit herbs. These tasks were all done by the doppelgangers. Of course, Wang Daoyuan was not idle either. He was looking through the inheritance of the Valley of Beasts, wanting to use it to improve his own cultivation technique. The penta-spirit immortal art still had many shortcomings and needed to be improved. He wanted to continue improving the 5 spirit seeds, so that spirit energy could be directly transformed into spiritual sense. At this moment, he felt a fluctuation of the power of law in the outside world. Using his spiritual sense to investigate, he saw a cave on the mountain peak flickering with a purple light. At this moment, there was already a purple sphere with a diameter of 8.5 inches floating above the cave. This cave belonged to Wang Delan. The person who opened the Violet Palace could only be him. Ordinary heavenly spiritual roots only had a 7-inch Violet Palace. An 8.5-inch Violet Palace was only achievable by geniuses at Wang Delan's level. He was not even 35 years old yet. Daoist Thunderflame and Wang Daoyin had already arrived at the mountain peak to protect Wang Delan. After the Violet Palace was formed, Daoist Thunderflame sighed. Even those with heavenly spiritual roots need to be 40 to 50 years old to open the Violet Palace. Since the disappearance of level 5 spiritual energy more than 10,000 years ago, there has never been a cultivator who opened the Violet Palace before the age of 40. This little fellow is only in his early 30s. I'm afraid he's the youngest Violet Palace cultivator in Beiyuan Shoshin. If he continues to cultivate at this speed, he'll be able to form his core in 100 years. Dao Yin, when your grandnephew surpasses you in cultivation, let's see where you'll put your face. Chapter 943. Wang Daoyin did not mind such mockery at all, and even retorted. Do I have nothing better to do than compete with a heaven spirit root and a spiritual body in terms of cultivation speed? A heaven spirit root cultivator only has one spirit root. Although it is not balanced, it is still a unique path. After reaching the Yuanying realm, his cultivation speed will obviously slow down, but that is only when compared to a penta-spirit root cultivator who has a more balanced cultivation speed. The cultivation speed of a 2-spirit root cultivator and a tri-spirit root cultivator is still far behind a heaven spirit root cultivator. At this rate, his cultivation will surpass yours in 200 to 300 years. Although these words made Master Lei Yan unhappy, he knew that it was the truth. The cultivation speed of a heaven spirit root cultivator was not slow, not to mention that Wang Delan had a spiritual body. In the ancient legends, penta-spirit root cultivators were the most common, followed by heaven spirit root cultivators. Most of the cultivators who could reach the almighty realm had special constitutions. Wang Daoyuan also came out from the underground cave and flew to the top of the mountain, quietly waiting for Wang Delan to open his purple mansion. Not long after, a black and pure water spiritual power appeared in the sky. This water spirit energy circled around the purple mansion for a while, and then turned into a black water droplet. When this water droplet appeared, it quickly absorbed the surrounding water spirit energy. The Jade Spring Peak Spirit Vein was a pure water spirit vein, and it was already at the peak of the 4th level, and could break through to the 5th level at any time. But when this water droplet absorbed spirit energy, it could actually cause a spirit energy wind. Wang Daoyuan used his divine sense to examine this water droplet, but did not find anything special. It was just an extremely pure law of water. After absorbing spirit energy for a long time, the black water droplet gradually shrank, and finally became the size of a dragon's eye, engraved on the purple mansion. This water droplet was extremely extraordinary, and gave people a heavy feeling. In addition, it also emitted a bone-piercing chill. As for what it was, Wang Daoyuan could not figure it out at the moment. Seeing that his master was nearby, he flew over. Master, Delan's purple mansion is quite extraordinary. I am slow-witted and do not know the origin of this black water droplet. Please enlighten me. Master Lei Yan's face was full of smiles. Delan is really lucky. This spirit water is called the Xianming primordial water. Although water and fire mutually reinforced and countered each other, they also had something in common. Among the 5 elements, only water and fire were formless and formless. Since the fire attribute could produce spiritual fire, the water attribute could naturally produce spiritual water as well. The Xianming primordial water was not an ordinary spiritual water. Only a spiritual spring of at least level 6 and above had a slight chance of condensing it. But even if it could be condensed, it would take hundreds of thousands of years, and it could not be disturbed during the process. This kind of spirit water usually existed in the depths of the sea and was formed by the condensation of the essence of water. There are many types of spiritual water, but not many can compare to the Xianming primordial water. Wang Daoyuan had also read many ancient books, but his knowledge was still lacking. There were too many things that he could not identify the Xianming primordial water. The moment Venerable Lei Yen mentioned it, he immediately recalled the records regarding the Xianming primordial water. This thing required a huge amount of water spiritual energy to condense. Because it gathered too much water spiritual energy, it was extremely heavy. Therefore, the Xianming primordial water was extremely powerful. The Xianming primordial water was another name for the black tortoise. The Xianming primordial water was not directly related to the black tortoise. It was just that it was born with an extremely powerful suppressive force, similar to that of the black tortoise. Furthermore, the Xianming primordial water carried an extremely strong chill. Although it did not condense into ice, it was not difficult to use this water to envelop an opponent and freeze them to death. Any spiritual water was equivalent to a small spiritual spring. It could absorb spiritual energy and produce an endless amount of water. Although the Xianming primordial water was not the strongest among the spiritual waters, it was still one of the best. Furthermore, it was nurtured by the sea and its ability to produce water was far superior to that of ordinary spiritual waters. In the ancient legends recorded in the Valley of Beasts, there were records of using the Xianming primordial water to fight against enemies. Hundreds of thousands of years ago, a powerful being obtained a drop of the Xianming primordial water in the deep sea and cultivated it. Later on, this powerful being was besieged by many demons of the same level and could not escape. He used the Xianming primordial water to create a boundless lake out of thin air and used the lake's geographical advantage to kill all of his opponents. Spiritual waters had the ability to control water, and the Xianming primordial water was even more so. Its ability to control water was only slightly inferior to the black tortoise and much more powerful than Wang Shui's black dragon. Of course, Wang Delan's Xianming primordial water was only a purple mansion avatar. In order to form the real Xianming primordial water, he had to first understand a lesser mystique and then use it to form the Xianming primordial water. After all, he had a spiritual body and not a combat body. Spiritual bodies cultivated very quickly. When he underwent the golden core heavenly tribulation, there would be another spiritual body tribulation. However, he would not directly understand a lesser mystique. With his talent, the secret techniques of the Wang family, and sufficient resources, it was not difficult for him to understand a lesser mystique. The nomological laws contained in the Xianming primordial water were very pure. They were only slightly different from the water-type nomological laws. It was not like the godly beast avatar, which was formed by many nomological laws and could awaken many lesser mystiques. The lesser mystique that Wang Delan awakened in the future would definitely be the Xianming primordial water. Soon, Wang Delan's soul appeared. After meditating for a while in front of the purple mansion avatar, he stood up again. He had never gone out to train since he was young. As one of the top prodigies in the Wang family, the elders loved him very much. Naturally, he did not have any inner demons. A door appeared in the purple mansion avatar and his soul walked in. After that, the purple mansion avatar entered the cave and the purple light gradually disappeared. Large amounts of water-type spiritual energy around the cave started to surge into the cave. Seeing that there was no more drama to watch, Lei Yanjinren and Wang Daoyin returned to the equipment forging hall and continued to guide the Wang family disciples. 2 hours later, Wang Delan walked out of the cave. Seeing Wang Daoyuan and the rest outside the cave, he quickly cupped his hands and said, "Seventh uncle, thank you for standing guard here. Please come in for a chat." The two of them walked into the cave and Wang Delan activated the cave's restrictions. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Spiritual body and heavenly spiritual roots, it is indeed extraordinary. Your purple mansion avatar is the Xianming primordial water. It is very famous among the spiritual waters. When you reach the Aurus core stage and comprehend lesser abilities, you can use them to condense the Xianming primordial water. The clan's Tripitaka block also has records of the lesser abilities of spiritual objects and methods of condensing spiritual fire and spiritual water. It won't be too late to check it out after you form the Aurus core. Wang Delin cupped his hands and said, "Thank you for your guidance, seventh uncle. I have already reached the Purple Mansion stage, but my technique can only be cultivated to the foundation establishment stage. Please bestow upon me the technique." The technique he cultivated was the Valley of Beasts Black Tortoise Hall's Black Tortoise Imperial Water technique. Now that he had awakened the Xianming Primordial Water, it was very compatible with this technique. Back then, he was worried that outsiders would covet the technique. In order to protect him, he only gave him the Qi cultivation and foundation establishment stage techniques. Now that his cultivation had reached the Purple Mansion stage, it was time to give him the technique. Wang Daoyuan took out a beast skin book. This was the copy of the Black Tortoise Imperial Water technique that his clone had copied. Now that you have reached the Purple Mansion stage, you don't need to cultivate in seclusion anymore. In the future, you can cultivate in the palace of Qingli City. Patriarch Myriad Spirit is overseeing there. He has lived for more than 200,000 years and has seen all kinds of geniuses. He also knows the techniques of the Valley of Beasts like the back of his hand. As for how to cultivate the Xianming Primordial Water, it is better for him to guide you. This technique is very important. After you have memorized the contents, hand it to Mingchen and let him place it in the secret vault of Qingli City. Do not leak it out. Wang Delin took the beast skin book and said, "Don't worry, seventh uncle. I know the importance of this. I will go to Qingli City to cultivate now. After I pack up, I will go to Qingli City." Wang Daoyuan nodded his head and said, "Coincidentally, I have been in seclusion for a year and have some insights. I need to consult Patriarch Myriad Spirit. Follow me." Wang Delin packed up some things and followed Wang Daoyuan to Qingli City. Chapter 944. The two of them came to the imperial study. Wang Mingchen and Wang Shui were cultivating in the secret room behind the study, while Wang Daochang was handling daily affairs. When he saw Wang Daoyuan and Wang Delin arrive, he realized that Wang Delin was already in the Purple Mansion realm. "Delin, have you opened the Purple Mansion? What is the Purple Mansion anomaly?" Wang Daoxing and Wang Daochang were two of the Wang family's cultivators who were restricted by their cultivation techniques. Although he was a cultivator with 3 spiritual roots, his main spiritual root was more than 8 inches long. His talent was not exceptional, but it was not bad either. It was not a problem for him to have a Purple Mansion anomaly. However, before he opened the Purple Mansion, his cultivation technique was very ordinary. His Purple Mansion anomaly was only a fire-winged quail. The enhancement to his battle prowess was negligible, and the possibility of him comprehending a minor abhijna was very small. Even if he did, it would be a very poor minor abhijna. Therefore, he was very concerned about Wang Delin's Purple Mansion anomaly. Looking at his nervous appearance, Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "You're really worrying too much. Delin's natural talent is superb, and coupled with the cultivation technique he cultivates is also extremely brilliant, so the phenomenon in his Violet Palace naturally isn't a problem. Delin's Purple Mansion anomaly is called the Xianming Primordial Water. This anomaly is too rare, and you might not have heard of it. In terms of potential, it is even stronger than ordinary divine beasts. Moreover, it is more stable in terms of awakening minor abhijna." Wang Daochang's face was full of joy. "Then I am relieved. I don't want the younger generation to step into the same trap again." Before he finished speaking, Patriarch Myriad Spirits flew out from the backyard. "I heard you mention the Xianming Primordial Water. Delin's Purple Mansion anomaly is the Xianming Primordial Water? Let me see." Wang Delin channeled his spiritual energy into his consciousness, and a purple light shone between his brows. Then, a ball of black water appeared. Patriarch Myriad Spirits used his divine sense to check it. It is indeed the Xianming Primordial Water. A disciple who can awaken the minor abhijna of the Xianming Primordial Water could also become the successor of the Valley of Beasts. With a heaven spiritual root and a spiritual body, it will not be difficult for him to comprehend minor abhijna. I saw that his cultivation technique is also the black tortoise water resistance technique from the black tortoise hall. Not only was this cultivation technique suitable for the black tortoise avatar to cultivate, but it was also suitable for controlling all kinds of spiritual water. Among the hall masters of the black tortoise hall, there were those who had managed to condense the Xianming primordial water. This cultivation technique had also been improved by them, and its power was indeed not bad. The Xianming primordial water, the Nanming primordial fire, the Yiwood spiritual body and the sword body were all powerful beings. Even when the Valley of Beasts was at its peak, they did not appear at the same time. There are only a few thousand cultivators in the Wang clan right now, and they are able to produce such powerful descendants at the same time. The heavens are really treating the Wang clan well. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "The heavens don't do business at a loss. The more things you give, the more things you want to take away. I've only heard of the Xianming primordial water, but I've never seen it before. I don't know how to teach him either. Since you're here, I'll leave De Lin in your care. It is also a joyous thing to nurture a talented person." Previously, when he was working in the imperial study, he asked me a lot about cultivation. In fact, he can be considered half a disciple of mine. It's only right for me to guide him in his cultivation. I've come here this time because I have some questions about cultivation to ask. Patriarch Myriad Spirits revealed a look of joy on his face. After sending Wang Delin away, he went to an underground secret room behind the imperial study with Wang Daoyuan. The imperial study was the largest building in the palace. In front of it was the place where official business was handled and officials were received. Behind it, there were more than 10 quiet rooms for cultivation. Further back, there were a few secret rooms built underground for discussing confidential matters. Deep underground, there was a place to store legacies and confidential files. The walls and floor tiles were made of 4th-tier superior materials, and there were also formations set up. Even a Yuanian cultivator would not be able to enter quietly. After coming to a secret room, Wang Daoyuan was a little curious. "Patriarch Myriad Spirits, I've come to ask you some questions. Why do you look like you've encountered a joyous occasion?" Patriarch Myriad Spirits smiled and said, "In the process of a son of fate's growth, and in the future, whoever makes the most contributions will receive more benefits. To be able to help you grow is a great contribution. If you have any questions, feel free to raise them. Although I'm only an artifact spirit, I've lived longer than most mighty figures and have seen more mighty figures. If I can't solve something, it's probably impossible to find other mighty figures." Wang Daoyuan sat cross-legged on a futon and summoned the Yuanying. Yuanying said directly, "The cultivation technique I cultivate is called the 5 Spirits Immortal Art. It was originally created by a golden core cultivator. It uses the essence of spiritual items to condense spiritual power seeds. After being refined by the spiritual power seeds, the spiritual power is even purer, comparable to the spiritual power cultivated by cultivators with heavenly spiritual roots. I used the 5 elements spiritual fire to condense the spiritual power seeds. After breaking through to the Yuanying realm, I absorbed the true dragon body tempering technique in the Valley of Beasts and the cultivation technique of Sword Immortal Beiyuan. The goal of a Yuanying cultivator's cultivation is to bring Yuanying closer to true life. I've always wanted to transform the 5 spiritual power seeds into Yuanying's internal organs and continuously strengthen Yuanying. Previously, when the Archaic Mysteries sect was resisting the West Sea demon race, I entered the Archaic Mystery Tower and received the help of the Blood Spirit Divinity to transform the spiritual power seeds into Yuanying's internal organs. Now that I can transform spiritual power into chi and blood energy, my physical body is growing very quickly. With just my physical strength, I can suppress ordinary half-divine beasts of the same level. It's just that my domain divine ability consumes a lot of spiritual power, so I want to continue improving this cultivation technique so that spiritual power can be directly transformed into spiritual power." Ancestor Myriad Spirits carefully examined his Yuanying. "Your method of transforming spiritual power into chi and blood energy is really similar to the blood spirit divinities. Your physical body is really strong. It seems that this cultivation technique is really good. The Valley of Beasts also has a few methods of transforming spiritual power into qi and blood, but they are far inferior to the blood spirit divinity's methods. As for the method of transforming spiritual power into spiritual power, the Valley of Beasts doesn't have a similar inheritance. I've seen dozens of powerful figures, and I know a little about their abilities. But I've never heard of any powerful figure who can transform spiritual power into spiritual power just by relying on a cultivation technique. But you don't have to worry about the method of transforming spiritual power into spiritual power. When you reach the semi-god realm, you can naturally transform it. Why waste the effort? Any semi-god realm cultivator can transform essence, qi, and spirit, but there is only one blood spirit divinity. The efficiency of transforming essence, qi, and spirit is far inferior to the blood spirit divinity's cultivation technique. In terms of physical strength, no powerful figure can be compared with the blood spirit divinity. The enemies you will face in the future are too powerful, and the foundation is not something Shuxian can compare with. If you want to have the last laugh, you have to do every step to the extreme. Ancestor Myriad Spirits was lost in thought. After a long time, he said, I don't have a cultivation technique to transform spiritual power into spiritual power, and I've never seen any powerful figure have one. I've followed the previous masters and met many powerful figures and earth immortals. From their conversations, I learned a lot of secrets. I've heard of two things related to the transformation of spiritual power into spiritual power. One of them was that when the Devil Clan invaded, a powerful figure encountered a strange semi-god realm Devil Clan. That Devil Clan should be from the 10,000 Arts Devil Clan. When he was fighting with the powerful figures of the human clan, he used all kinds of spells that consumed a lot of spiritual power. But this Devil Clan held on for a very long time, and his spiritual power seemed to be inexhaustible. Under the siege of three powerful figures, he still managed to escape unscathed. Later, some people guessed that this Devil Clan should have a way to transform spiritual power into spiritual power. But this Devil Clan later died in the chaotic battle, and this matter was left unsettled. The other one is more illusory. Legend has it that in the depths of the Arctic ice field, there is a strange race. This race is called Soul Demon, and is known for its powerful spiritual power attacks. They are between souls and bodies, and can directly absorb spiritual power and transform it into spiritual power. This race rarely appears in the eyes of humans, and humans know very little about them. They are not even sure if they exist. Chapter 945. The two things that Patriarch Myriad Spirits said were uncertain. The Myriad Arts Demon divine sense was endless, so it was indeed possible that there was a secret technique that could transform spiritual power into divine sense. But it was possible that it was carrying some special magic weapon. Besides, this demon had been dead for tens of thousands of years, and it had died in a chaotic battle. When the demon race invaded back then, the number of humans and demons who died was uncountable. Where could he find them now? It was uncertain if there were any soul demons, so it was even more difficult to find them. The Valley of Beasts is not far from the extreme frost icy plains. This soul demon is such a special demon. Have the ancestors of the Valley of Beasts not been tempted? Patriarch Myriad Spirits replied, how could they not be tempted? Several sect masters of the Valley of Beasts have been there. The Black Tortoise Hall's encampment is close to the extreme frost icy plains. Which hall master hasn't investigated? But no one has been able to find any substantial evidence. Only a few people said that they had seen it, but they didn't catch it. Wang Daoyuan was a little surprised. In the Valley of Beasts, the four hall masters were also soul formation cultivators. In the early days, only Mahayana cultivators could take up the post. They could only see it, but not catch it. With his ability, there was no need to think about it. From the looks of it, I really have no chance. Even soul formation and Mahayana cultivators can't catch it. As a Yuanian cultivator, I have no hope at all. Patriarch Myriad Spirits shook his head. That's hard to say. Previously, the spiritual energy in Beiyuan Shoshin continued to decline because the spiritual veins of the heavenly/mountain range were seriously damaged. A huge amount of spiritual energy needed to be extracted to repair it, and the entire Beiyuan Xiuxian was affected. The remnants of the heavenly/mountain range went deep into the extreme frost icy plains, and a lot of spiritual energy was extracted there. Therefore, the spiritual energy concentration in the extreme frost icy plains shouldn't be high. Even if there are soul demons, they are at most peak rank 5. With your strength, it will be difficult for an early rank 6 demon to take you down. According to the descriptions of some people who claim to have seen soul demons, these soul demons had strange methods and were good at hiding. However, they had never heard of how strong they were, and there were no records of them fighting with humans head-on. The saying that soul demons were good at spiritual consciousness attacks was passed down from the demons. Even among the demon race, there were very few legends about soul demons. If you really want to go, you can bring me with you when the time comes. With me here, no matter how strong the soul demon's divine sense attack is, it can forget about breaking my defense. The 10,000 Spirits Pagoda's specialty was suppressing and sealing. Not only could it suppress the opponent, it could also suppress the opponent's attack. As a Dharma artifact forged by an earth immortal and a mighty figure, it was nothing against a peak rank 5 soul demon. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "This matter isn't urgent. After a few years, I'll first go to the absolute heaven abyss to capture a few myriad Dharma devils and see if they have any information about that special fiend race. If they did, they wouldn't need to go deeper into the frozen ice plains. If not, I'll go to the frozen ice plains to try my luck. However, I don't need you to accompany me." Then, he took out the Xian cauldron. Ancestor myriad spirits glanced at it. This magic weapon seems to have come from the hands of God Xian of Xunlian school. Xian also appeared. Seeing ancestor myriad spirits, he was somewhat puzzled. "You are the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda?" "I am God Xian's Dharma artifact Xian cauldron. I've heard my master mention you. You should have participated in the war against the fiend race back then." "What happened to my master?" Ancestor myriad spirits replied, "God Xian sent the rank 8 Guiyuan sword to sword immortal Guiyuan back then. It was left in the allied forces of the human race and the fiend race, forging magic weapons for the human race's mighty figures and earth immortals. Later, because the war was urgent, he had no choice but to participate. In a defeat, God Xian was besieged by several fiends, and finally self-destructed his primordial spirit." Hearing this, the Xian cauldron's artifact spirit looked sad. "I've long sensed my master's death, but after all, I didn't see it with my own eyes. I felt that he might still be alive." Ancestor myriad spirits sighed. "Don't be too sad. You'll get used to it after a few more masters." When Wang Daoyuan heard this, he felt that something was wrong. Ancestor myriad spirits continued, "Although the Xian cauldron's foundation is inferior, it was still made by a mighty figure. Now, it's still at lower rank 6. The strength it can unleash is probably above mine. With it following you, you don't have to worry about anyone hurting you." In the next few years, Wang Daoyuan took the time to accompany the 2 children and stayed in Qingli City. Whether it was improving cultivation techniques and spells, or alchemy, artifacts, and talisman arrays, he could ask ancestor myriad spirits for help if he didn't understand anything. Having an elder at home was like having a treasure. This myriad spirit's old ancestor really knew a lot of things. No matter what Wang Daoyuan asked, he could give some pointers. 5 years later, Wang Daoyuan's array formation, talisman crafting, and his level had all improved to upper rank 5. Under ancestor myriad spirits' guidance, his cultivation techniques had also improved slightly. His cultivation speed had increased a little, but of course, his consumption of resources had increased. The blooming water divine lightning that he had focused on improving had also made considerable progress. Wang Mingren and Wang Mingxian were already over 16 years old. When Wang Daoyuan left the mountain to work at 16, he had left a precedent for the clan. According to the clan rules, clansmen were considered adults at 20 years old. At that time, they had to work in the clan's various businesses. However, at 16 years old, they could apply to go out and work. Wang Mingren and Wang Mingxian had requested to work in Qingli City, which was to cultivate here. With ancestor myriad spirits guiding them, there was nothing to worry about. Their cultivation had long reached peak Qi disciple, but they were not adults and were not suitable for foundation establishment. Before 20 years old, they could only practice a few spells and increase their attainments in alchemy, artifacts, and talisman arrays. Wang Mingren had good talent in alchemy and talisman crafting. Now, both had reached upper rank 1. Wang Mingxian was close to spirit plants and had excellent talent as a spirit plant farmer. She was now a lower rank 2 spirit plant farmer. Other than that, she also cultivated alchemy. After all, spirit plant farmers also needed to understand the habits and medicinal properties of spirit plants. This had a lot of overlap with alchemists. Her alchemy skills had also reached upper rank 1. Wang Mingren's current appearance was 80 to 90% similar to Wang Daoyuan. Wang Mingxian's appearance was basically the same as Zhou Wan's. Other than temperament, there was no difference at all. The two little fellows had also grown up. His cultivation and cultivation skills did not have much room for improvement. He also planned to go to Decimating Heaven Abyss to catch a few 10,000 Laws demons and see if there was any news of spirit power transforming into consciousness. He used an image recording pearl to record the images of the 3 siblings and also bid them farewell. Following the main heaven/mountain range, he headed south. Along the way, he saw many of Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's businesses. Only when he reached the eastern part of Qi did the Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's businesses decrease. After Song and Zhao agreed to Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's entry, the various markets quickly had Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's shops. As the neighboring countries of the Song Kingdom, Qi and Wu naturally heard the news. In the past few years, the 2 large countries, Qi, as well as a few small countries near heaven/mountain range, had all sent envoys to Yen. According to the conditions previously agreed upon with Song, they were allowed to occupy a portion of heaven/mountain range's territory, but they had to allow Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce to do business in their countries. Moreover, when Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's businesses were attacked, they had to help. After the agreement with these countries, Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce's flags could be seen from the northern part of the mountain all the way to the southern wilderness. After the Chamber of Commerce entered other countries, they could naturally come into contact with more itinerant cultivators. Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce also had more people joining. Currently, Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce already had more than 30,000 foundation establishment cultivators and more than 2,000 Zifu realm cultivators. There were also more than 20 Golden Core cultivators. Other than Blood Shadows Hall Master and Deputy Hall Master, there were also some itinerant cultivators joining. After Beiyuan Xiuxian's spirit Qi recovered to rank 5, there were also many core formation cultivators among the itinerant cultivators. Wanchuan Chamber of Commerce was powerful and recruited talents. Naturally, they were also more tempted. Other than the absence of Yuanian cultivators, their manpower was already comparable to a second-rate country like Wei. Chapter 946. From the eastern part of the state of Qi all the way south, there were fewer and fewer businesses with the Myriad Rivers Chamber of Commerce's signboard. The Myriad Rivers Chamber of Commerce's strategy was to occupy the latrine first, regardless of whether it was convenient or not. By announcing their existence, other factions wouldn't dare to snatch their territory. There were about 400 to 500 shops in all the businesses they occupied. In total, there were at least 2,000 to 3,000 farms, mines, and large tracts of land with spirit farmlands. The annual profits weren't much. After all, they were still in the early stages of development. The grade of the spirit fields hadn't been raised yet, and the quality of the spirit items produced was still relatively low. To develop new businesses, they naturally had to invest a lot of manpower and resources. The spirit stones earned by the Myriad Rivers Chamber of Commerce were all invested in developing the businesses and recruiting people. Now, they could only ensure that their income and expenditure were balanced. Wang Daoyuan didn't disturb these businesses and just flew south. It only took 3 days to reach Blood Shadow's headquarters. Now, no one in Blood Shadow dared to go against Zhou Wan. Her days were especially leisurely. The daily affairs were handled by the various elders. After they were done, he just had to take a look. A lot of free time could only be used for cultivation. When Wang Daoyuan walked into the small courtyard, Zhou Wan immediately woke up from her meditation. Seeing that Wang Daoyuan had arrived, it immediately turned into a streak of red light and pounced into his embrace. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "Dao Yu, please respect yourself. I'm not that kind of person." Zhou Wan snorted. "You already have 3 children. You're not that kind of person. Do you have other thoughts?" Wang Daoyuan immediately cowered. "Lord Shadow Master, I definitely don't mean that. I don't think you dare. Are Ming Ren and Ming Xian living well in the family? Ever since you left, I've been worried. How can they not be living well? Even the elders in the family have to call them granduncle and grandaunt. If it weren't for Dahei watching over them, with Ming Ren's temper, he would have been domineering in Jade Spring Peak long ago. Now that they were over 16 years old, they applied to go out and cultivate in Qingli City's palace. Ming Chen, 12th uncle, and 3rd brother were there to take care of her. With myriad spirit ancestors' guidance in cultivation, what problems could there be? On the other hand, Ming Chen's cultivation speed was very fast. He was already at the middle stage of the Golden Core realm. In another 40 to 50 years, I should be able to reach the peak of the Golden Core realm and attempt to break through to the Yuaning realm. In your letter, you said that Ming Xian has the rare Yi-Wood spiritual body. Is this true? Divine Venerable Greenwood of the Valley of Beasts has the Yi-Wood spiritual body. The 10,000 Spirits Pagoda was once his magic weapon. Myriad Spirits' ancestor has accompanied Divine Venerable Greenwood for thousands of years. How can he be wrong? Wood attribute cultivators generally weren't very strong, but after reaching the foundation establishment stage, they would be able to communicate with spirit plants. At the Violet Palace realm, he would be able to directly control spirit plants, and his battle prowess wouldn't be inferior to sword cultivators of the same realm. Moreover, the Yi-Wood spiritual body was also a type of spiritual body, and its cultivation speed was extremely fast. 3rd brother's grandson, Wang Delan, has a 9.3-inch water spirit root. He opened his Violet Palace before the age of 35. Ming Xian's talent is even better. I estimate that she will be able to open her Violet Palace in her 30s. Upon hearing that her daughter's talent was great, Zhou Wan immediately became proud. My daughter's talent is great. Wang Daoyuan took out an image recording pearl. This is the image left behind by the 3 siblings. You haven't seen them for several years, so you can take a look at the children. Zhou Wan took the image recording pearl and injected her spiritual energy into it to check the images of the 3 children. After she finished, tears flowed down her cheeks uncontrollably. Wang Daoyuan comforted her. Aren't the children fine? When their cultivation is higher, I'll bring them to see you. If that doesn't work, let's have a few more children. Zhou Wan hadn't dried her tears yet. She pinched his waist, but it didn't budge. She had an astonished expression. How did your skin become so tough? Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, I have some achievements in body refinement. The strength of my body is not inferior to that of a half-divine beast of the same level. Only the half-divine beasts of the dragon race and the black tortoise race can surpass me in body refinement. How about it? Do you want to give it a try? Wang Daoyuan stayed at the Blood Shadow headquarters for more than a year. Zhou Wan's cultivation had also improved greatly. After that, he bid farewell to Zhou Wan and headed towards the decimating heaven abyss. To find information about that special 10,000 Arts Devil, they still had to rely on those who had personally experienced it. Sword Immortal Gui Yuan was the leader of the human race at that time. He definitely knew about this kind of information that had special value. Although the clone Shui Quan also came from the decimating heaven abyss, his range of activity was not large. Among the demon tribes that he had come into contact with, there was only one that belonged to the 10,000 Arts Devil. Moreover, it was very weak and didn't have any impressive inheritance. For Yuaniing cultivators, spiritual energy was already very easy to obtain. Circulating a cultivation technique for a while could obtain spiritual energy comparable to a high-grade spirit stone. And divine sense could only rely on oneself to slowly recover, or with the assistance of spiritual items. The method of converting spiritual energy into divine sense could allow the 10,000 Arts Devil to unleash extremely powerful strength. If there really was such an inheritance, this 10,000 Arts Devil tribe would have dominated a region long ago. Wang Daoyuan arrived at the north shore of the decimating heaven abyss. With the experience of entering the decimating heaven abyss last time, he didn't hesitate. Propping up his protective chi, he directly stepped over the defensive array and flew in. Arriving at the Sword Immortal Gui Yuan's tomb, he bowed towards the Sword Immortal Gui Yuan in front of the tomb and said, "Disciple greets Master." Sword Immortal Gui Yuan's figure flew out from the sword. After helping him recover last time, his aura was much stronger now. "Disciple Dao Yuan, did you encounter any difficulties in your cultivation?" Wang Daoyuan replied, "Disciple received guidance from the Blood Spirit Supreme God in the Tianji sect's Tianji Pagoda. Now that I can convert spiritual energy into qi and blood, the strength of my physical body has already improved greatly. Disciple still wants to try converting spiritual energy into divine sense power, but I didn't find a suitable inheritance in the Tianji Pagoda." After asking the artifact spirit of the 10,000 Spirits Pagoda, he also had no solution. He only mentioned that when the demon race invaded, there was a rather peculiar 10,000 Arts Devil, whose divine sense power seemed to be endless. Ancestor Myriad Spirits guessed that he might have the ability to convert spiritual energy into divine sense. Ancestor Myriad Spirits didn't know much about the specific situation. At that time, Master, you were the leader of the human race and should know more inside information, so Disciple came to ask you. Sword Immortal Gui Yuan smiled, "Your physical body is indeed not weak, it has the meaning of the Blood Spirit Supreme God. Especially this time, it has improved greatly compared to the last time. You have the 5 elements spiritual fire, so spiritual energy is nothing to you. To be able to convert excess spiritual energy into qi and blood and divine sense, this idea is very good. Although at the Earth Immortal realm, cultivation and battle use immortal energy, there are very few heaven immortals in the Qian sect. However, there were very few immortal powers in the entire Qian Yuan realm. In order to cultivate immortal powers, one had to use their essence, energy, and spirit to transform them. The power of divine sense was still the most difficult to obtain. When cultivators reach the soul formation realm, they can already use spiritual energy to convert divine sense power, but it is still not enough. Mahayana realm cultivators usually spend half of their cultivation time on converting divine sense power. Many powerful figures have studied the method of converting spiritual energy into divine sense, but I have never heard of anyone succeeding. After Disciple cultivated to the peak of Yuaniing, my cultivation could no longer improve, so I converted most of my spiritual energy into qi and blood. Now that my physical body is extremely high, it is very difficult to improve further. That's why I want to convert spiritual energy into divine sense to improve the strength of my soul and divine sense cultivation. Sword Immortal Gui Yuan pondered for a moment. With your talent, your future achievements should be above your senior brothers, and becoming an Earth Immortal won't be a big problem. Secret techniques related to divine sense are extremely dangerous, why take this risk? Wang Daoyuan didn't intend to hide it anymore. In the future, Beiyuan Xiuxian would be his back garden, and he would have to rely on Sword Immortal Gui Yuan to guard decimating heaven abyss. He let Yinglong out, Master will know at a glance. As the former leader of the human race, Sword Immortal Gui Yuan knew far more secrets than ordinary cultivators. When he saw Yinglong, he was surprised. Dragon of Destiny? How did you get this thing? Chapter 947. Wang Daoyuan answered, My purple mansion phenomenon was the 5 elements divine beasts. When I broke through to the Yuaniing realm, the 5 elements divine beasts merged into one and transformed into Yinglong. After a long while, Sword Immortal Guiyuan said, The Dragon of Destiny is the embodiment of providence. It's not something that can be casually condensed. Ordinary cultivators can't even draw a statue of Yinglong. Even a mighty figure can't create a method to control Yinglong. Otherwise, it's very likely that they'll suffer a backlash. Yet, you, a Yuanying cultivator, can control Yinglong at will. The Myriad Spirits Pagoda is an heirloom spiritual artifact of the Valley of Beasts, and it has always been very arrogant. You come from a small faction, but he's willing to answer your questions. It seems that he's very impressed by you. The Valley of Beasts was destroyed more than 50,000 years ago. Back then, only a direct disciple escaped. My Dao partner is the descendant of that direct disciple of the Valley of Beasts. My eldest son has awakened the Nanmingli fire and is now the sect master of the Valley of Beasts. The Myriad Spirits Pagoda recognizes my eldest son as its master. The elders of the Valley of Beasts back then have all turned into ghost cultivators. After they saw my Yinglong phenomenon, they believed that I was the son of destiny and were willing to submit to me. In the future, they'll fight with me and use my providence to revitalize the Valley of Beasts. Sword Immortal Beiyuan nodded. I didn't expect the Valley of Beasts to be reduced to such a state. Submitting to you is indeed an excellent choice. The Son of Destiny has appeared again. It seems that the Qianyuan realm will face another great calamity. Back then, I was the Son of Destiny, and I became the final victor. After breaking through to the Earth Immortal realm, my providence reached the peak. Even so, the Yinglong phenomenon didn't appear. You've only cultivated to the Yuanying realm, but you have Yinglong with you. This providence might be stronger than when I was at my peak. The war of providence hasn't even begun, but it's already at this stage. From the looks of it, the future calamity will far exceed the fiend invasion. Since you are the Son of Destiny, I'll bask in your glory. In the future, I'll do my best to assist you and become the final victor. On the day you succeed, I may also have a chance to take a turn for the better. With that said, he bowed towards Wang Daoyuan. Wang Daoyuan hurriedly cupped his hands and said, Master, you can't do this. You are my master and also the former leader of the human race. You have contributed greatly to save the human race. In the entire Qianyuan world, no one is qualified to receive a bow from you, much less a disciple like me. Sword Immortal Beiyuan said with a smile, I forgot about that. I mentioned fiend. Back then, a few powerful figures had besieged him, but he was able to escape unscathed. His strength was not inferior to a fiend celestial. Fififian fiends of the fiends. Fiends now that such a powerful enemy has appeared in the demon race, our human race naturally attaches great importance to it. At that time, I even personally asked those few almighty elders, and they all said that this demon race's spiritual energy was almost endless. They also had different opinions. Some people thought that the devil race had created some kind of secret technique that allowed them to transform their spiritual energy into divine sense. However, the vast majority of people disagreed with this view. The demon race's inheritance system was not inferior to the human race's. If there really was such a secret technique, many demons would have mastered it, and the human race would be no match for them. There were also some people who guessed that the devil clan had obtained some kind of heaven and earth treasure that could constantly replenish the consumption of divine sense. Other than that, there were also people who speculated that there was something wrong with the demon's bloodline. Although he looked like a myriad magic demon, he clearly had the characteristics of a soul-devouring demon and a blood demon. He should have the bloodline of the three great demon clans. The soul-devouring devil's divine sense was extremely powerful, the blood devil's blood chi was extremely powerful, and the myriad law's devil's spiritual energy was extremely powerful. The fusion of the bloodlines of the three races gave birth to this special ability. Moreover, this ability might not be able to be imitated by secret techniques. Otherwise, this demon wouldn't be the only one who could do it. If you work hard in this aspect, you might end up with nothing. Wang Daoyuan nodded. This disciple also knows that the hope is slim, but I can't go to the Sea of Seven Stars for the time being, and I can't break through to the soul formation realm for a while. If I can't improve my cultivation, I can only think of ways to improve other abilities. Myriad Spirit Ancestor also said that spirit demons might also master similar methods. If I can't find any news of that devil clan in the absolute heaven abyss, this disciple will go to the extremely frozen icy plains to try my luck. Beiyuan Sword Immortal, as the son of Providence back then, eventually became the leader of the human race. These secrets naturally couldn't be hidden from him. I've heard about spirit demons, but I was born in the central area of the Qianyuan realm, which is too far away from the extremely frozen icy plains, so I haven't personally gone to look for them. Many of the forces that supported me back then sent people to look for the extremely frozen icy plains. According to them, this spirit demon is also a type of primordial beast. It's just that it's born at the intersection of yin and yang, and can freely travel between yin and yang. When they encounter danger, they will hide in the underworld. And as living beings of the human realm, even if the human race cultivates to the earth immortal realm, it's not too easy to enter the underworld. If you want to catch spirit demons, you must have a method to stop them from escaping to the underworld. Even I don't have much confidence in this method. With your current strength, it's unlikely that you can do it. Since you want to find this secret technique, it's better to search for traces of that special devil clan in the absolute heaven abyss. This devil clan only has the cultivation of a mighty figure, but has the battle strength of a devil god. Humans' high-end combat strength was inferior to the fiend's to begin with. If he was allowed to take another step forward and break through to the fiend celestial realm, he would be able to take on the fiend celestial realm. If he breaks through to the devil god realm, I'm afraid that among the human race, only I can restrain him. In order to solve future problems, I brought 3 Earth Immortals and more than 20 mighty figures to sneak attack the place where he was. At that time, 3 Earth Immortals besieged him. It's guaranteed that his soul will scatter, and not even a trace of him will be left. The battlefield is a few 100,000 kilometers east of here. If he left any treasures or secret techniques behind, the devil clan near the battlefield should have news. With me watching over this absolute heaven abyss, devils above Yuanying won't be able to enter. The Yuanying devil clan is not enough for you to practice, you can go find trouble with them. If you are besieged, just use the Beiyuan sword intent. I will help you through the resonance of the sword intent. Even if you encounter a soul formation cultivator, they won't be able to withstand a single strike from you. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "Thank you for your guidance, master. I will go over there to take a look." After leaving the Beiyuan sword immortal tomb, he took out the flying boat and headed east. The flying boat was relatively fragile. Flying in the absolute heaven abyss required the protection of a spirit energy light barrier to prevent the corrosion of the black gas. The consumption of spirit energy was extremely high. Ordinary people couldn't bear it at all. A few 100,000 kilometers east of the Beiyuan sword immortal tomb, it was already the east side of the heaven/mountain range. Since more than 20 years ago, Wang Daoyuan used the 5-element spirit fire to temper the Beiyuan sword immortal and even used the Beiyuan sword diagram to replenish the sword intent. Beiyuan sword immortal's condition had recovered a lot. Now, in addition to attacking targets above Yuanying, he would sometimes kill a few Yuanying devils to relieve his boredom. The nearby devils didn't dare to wander around so as to avoid angering Beiyuan's sword immortal and becoming his tool to relieve his boredom. After the flying boat flew 100,000 miles to the east, the devils became much more rampant. When Beiyuan's sword immortal attacked devils above Yuanying, he could completely borrow the power of the formation and the help of the heavenly Tao. No matter how far away he was, he didn't have to worry about the consumption of spirit energy. When attacking targets below Yuanying, the formation wouldn't provide additional power. He could only rely on his own power. Since he was relieving boredom, he wouldn't waste too much spirit energy to attack devils more than 100,000 miles away. Many Yuanying devils followed behind Wang Daoyuan. They wanted to wait for his spirit energy to run out before coming out to take advantage of him. The flying boat quickly arrived at the battlefield where the chaotic battle took place. There were already more than a dozen Yuanying devils following behind him. Seeing that Wang Daoyuan didn't move forward, the devils thought that he had exhausted his spirit energy. A peak Yuanying devil flew over and shouted, "Human ant actually dares to enter the absolute heaven abyss." Quickly get over here and accept your death. Don't make us waste too much time. We'll also let you die a little faster. Chapter 948. Wang Daoyuan's physical strength had increased sharply in the past 20 years, and he had yet to fight with anyone. Using his body tempering skills only on Zhou Wan wasn't too appropriate. He put away the flying boat and flew towards that peak Yuanying demon. This peak Yuanying demon was of the blood demon lineage, and was also known for his physical body. Seeing Wang Daoyuan fly towards him with the intention of attacking, he revealed a look of contempt. Wang Daoyuan's body flickered with a bright yellow light. Although his body was still in human form, it was already covered in scales. Dragon horns grew on his head, and his hands had already turned into dragon claws. Although decimating Heaven Abyss's heavenly Dao power was weak, it was still within the Qian Yuan world. The divine beast suppression on demons still existed, but it was weakened by a lot. His body was in half-dragon form, emitting a dense dragon aura. All the demons were shocked. This peak Yuanying demon was still very confident, to be able to transform into half-dragon and half-human. If this was outside decimating Heaven Abyss, I definitely wouldn't be your match. But in this decimating Heaven Abyss, even if you are a true dragon, what can you do to me? Before his voice fell, he turned into a streak of blood light. Wang Daoyuan looked at the blood light that was heading straight for him, and didn't panic at all. He clenched his right hand into a fist, and suddenly punched. For a moment, the blood light and the bright yellow light reflected each other. Wang Daoyuan retreated several meters, while that blood demon was pushed back several hundred meters. The black qi in decimating Heaven Abyss could isolate the astral winds of the 9 heavens. But under the aftermath of the two's exchange, the black qi in a radius of several dozen kilometers instantly dissipated. To be able to slightly beat a blood demon of the same level, Wang Daoyuan was still very satisfied with his physical strength. Back when the demons invaded, the best blood demons and bone demons could even compete with true dragons in terms of physical strength. To be able to cultivate to the peak Yuanying in this decimating Heaven Abyss, in terms of talent, it could be considered rare. This blood demon snorted, "Good boy, I thought you were an arrow at the end of its flight, but I didn't expect you to still have such methods. I can't take you down for now, but you will definitely die." Inside this absolute Heaven Abyss, the human race is completely unable to recover spirit energy, while my fiend race can cultivate normally. The more spiritual energy you consume, the faster you will die. After saying that, he once again turned into a streak of blood-red light and attacked Wang Daoyuan. Wang Daoyuan was constantly drawing spiritual energy from the spirit pearl to replenish his own consumption. It wouldn't be a problem for him to fight here for 8 to 10 years. However, he did not want to waste time here. The blood-red light flew over again, but he quietly floated in the air and did not move. The blood-red light was only a few hundred meters away from him. To a Yuanying cultivator, this distance wasn't worth mentioning. The blood demon revealed a sinister smile as though he could already see Wang Daoyuan dying in front of him. Right at this moment, a large cauldron appeared out of thin air. Shuiguang was unable to react in time and crashed into the cauldron. Inside the cauldron, the blood demon was still unconvinced and continued to charge left and right. Unfortunately, he was only a peak Yuanying demon. And the Xian cauldron came from the hands of a major power and currently still had the power of a low-grade tier 6. No matter how great his ability was, it was also hard for him to break through the Xian cauldron. Wang Daoyuan ignored the blood demon's clamor and directly stored the Xian cauldron into the spirit pearl space. Seeing the blood demon easily subdued, the other fiends trembled with fear and turned around to flee. But they had not yet escaped far when they were blocked by 2 to 3 long sword phantoms. This was precisely the Heavenly Dipper sword formation that Wang Daoyuan used. You all have already been surrounded by me. Killing you all is also as easy as blowing off dust. But you few small fries, there's no difference whether I kill or not. Answer a few of my questions honestly, and I can let you all go. If you resist stubbornly, I can guarantee that it will be hard for your souls to survive. The dozen or so fiends that were just about to flee stopped their footsteps at once. They had also witnessed Wang Daoyuan's strength. Although their strength was lacking, they still had foresight. The long sword phantoms in front of them contained a terrifying power that could kill them at any time. Of course, there were those who understood the situation and those who were not afraid of death. Wang Daoyuan was just about to open his mouth to ask when three late-stage Yuanying fiends that were rather confident in their strength suddenly used escape techniques and fled into the distance. Unfortunately, their speed was still much slower than Wang Daoyuan's sword phantoms. Even late-stage Yuanying fiends could not block Wang Daoyuan's sword. The three fiends had only flown a few hundred feet when the sword phantoms caught up to them and they were instantly sliced into several pieces. The remaining fiends' cultivations were slightly lower. Seeing that even the strongest of them could not resist, they did not dare to court death. Seeing their fearful expressions, Wang Daoyuan was very satisfied. Before the fiends were defeated, there was a chaotic battle here. Many fiends died in battle. Where were the corpses of those fiends placed? Most of the fiends looked at each other with confused expressions. Although fiends had longer lifespans than humans, 70,000 years was still a very long time for them. Furthermore, the elites of the past had either died or fled. Most of the ancestors of the current demon race were not of high status. Even their ancestors didn't know much about it, let alone them. Wang Daoyuan threatened, "I do not keep trash in my hands. If you are of no use, I will not keep you." Hearing this, the ignorant fiends began to have devious thoughts. More than 10 of them used escape techniques at the same time and fled in all directions. Unfortunately, Wang Daoyuan's sword phantoms outnumbered them. 3 sword phantoms surrounded one fiend. Their escape techniques were fast enough, but sword cultivators were known for their speed. With a flash of sword light, the fleeing early stage and mid-stage Yuanying fiends were instantly turned into a pool of blood. There were only 2 fiends that did not escape. One of them looked no different from a human, but the ripples of spiritual energy he emitted were clearly different. This was the 10,000 law fiends. They were extremely similar to humans. If they hid their auras and mixed in with ordinary people, it would be very difficult to distinguish them. The other fiend also looked like a human, but had a single horn on his forehead. This was the soul-devouring fiend. Wang Daoyuan's first fiend clone, soul-devouring fiend, was from the soul-devouring fiend clan. Wang Daoyuan glanced at the 2 of them. The 2 of you did not escape with them. You should know something about what happened back then. I only want to know what happened back then. I am not interested in whether you live or die. As long as you tell me and I confirm that there is no mistake, I will let you go. The soul-devouring fiend said, 70,000 years ago, this was a camp of the sacred race. There were thousands of sacred race above the soul formation realm and 5 or 6 powerful beings stationed here. Later, the human leader led many earth immortals and powerful beings to attack this place. The sacred race from other places came to help and engaged in a fierce battle with the humans. Tens of thousands of sacred race members died here. There is a place below called the Myriad Fiends' Grave. It is where the fiends' corpses are buried. My ancestor was a soul formation realm cultivator and was lucky enough to escape. The things I know were passed down by him. However, his status was not high and he did not know much about the inside story. That's all I know. Please spare my life, Senior. Wang Daoyuan took out the Xian cauldron. Don't worry. I have no interest in killing you. However, what you said has not been verified yet. I cannot let you go for now. I will not kill you. First, I will put you into the Xian cauldron. After I verify what you said, we'll let you go. This soul-devouring fiend was only at the early stage of Yuanying. He was powerless in front of Wang Daoyuan and could only listen obediently. After Wang Daoyuan put him into the Xian cauldron, he looked at the myriad fiend again. Among the fiends, the myriad fiend had the highest status. He should know more than the soul-devouring fiend. This fiend was quite clever. Seeing Wang Daoyuan look at him, he quickly said, Senior, this junior knows a lot about the myriad fiend's grave. One of my ancestors was a powerful being in this camp of the sacred race. Moreover, he was the one with the highest status. I heard that the human race attacked this camp because of my ancestor. As long as Senior can spare my life, I will tell you everything I know. Chapter 949. This made Wang Daoyuan overjoyed. The ancestor mentioned by Myriad Magic Demon was most likely the one with the limitless divine sense. Myriad Magic Demon was only at the middle stage of the Yuanying realm, so he shouldn't be considered a genius. He didn't expect him to have such a powerful ancestor. It said that your ancestor's divine sense was limitless. Is this a bloodline talent, a secret technique, or a treasure? Myriad Magic Demon replied, I've only heard about this from my elders. My ancestor had the bloodlines of Myriad Magic Demon, Soul-Devouring Demon, and Blood Demon, and a mutation occurred. Through his bloodline, his spirit power could slowly transform into a part of his divine sense and blood. This attracted the attention of the upper echelons of the sacred race, who focused on nurturing him. They also arranged many wives and concubines for him, and he gave birth to many children. Unfortunately, these children didn't have such talent. My bloodline is also the descendant of one of these children. Not only do we not have my ancestors' abilities, but our bloodline is mixed and our talent is poor. My ancestors' talent isn't very useful in actual combat, but it can be very useful in cultivation. My ancestor cultivated to the almighty realm when he was around 4,000 years old. The cultivation speed of the sacred race is much slower than that of the human race. It takes them over 1,000 years to reach the Yuanying realm. It takes them at least 7,000 to 8,000 years to reach the almighty realm. Since it's not useful in actual combat, why did his divine sense later on become inexhaustible? Myriad Magic Demon replied, this matter is widely spread in the sacred race, but there are many theories. Some say that the upper echelons of the sacred race created a secret technique for my ancestor. Combined with his bloodline talent, he can continuously transform spirit power into divine sense. Others say that he used his bloodline to refine a special magic tool that can accelerate the transformation of spirit power into divine sense. There are many other theories, but most of them are baseless nonsense. These two statements were already the most credible. As for the specifics, even my ancestor doesn't know. Wang Daoyuan nodded. The blood demon bloodline is good at using their own blood essence to refine magic tools. Your ancestor has the bloodline of the blood demons. There's nothing strange about using the power of blood essence to forge some kind of special magic tool. Wang Daoyuan had been injured by the Yuanying blood demon's bloodthirsty heart-shattering blade when he was quelling the chaos in Sky Devil Valley. That magic tool was condensed from the blood essence of the blood demon, and its destructive power was extremely strong. Of course, there were also many secret techniques that could be used in conjunction with their bloodline talents. There were many cultivation methods and spells that complemented a human's battle constitution, and there were even more secret techniques for half-demons. Even the Zhou clan's Nirvana secret technique was a type of bloodline secret technique. The two situations mentioned by the Myriad Magic Demon were both possible. At the very least, he could confirm that the 10,000 Laws demonic bloodline was indeed special. Later on, he was able to give birth to limitless divine sense, which had a lot to do with his bloodline. After hearing this news, Wang Daoyuan was still a little disappointed. After the demon clan took human form, they could mix blood with humans. But he had never heard of mixed blood between humans and demons. Although some demons and humans looked very similar, they were not creatures of the same world. Humans used to be one of the demon clans, and there were a lot of demon clans' bloodline mixed in. Wang Daoyuan himself had a small amount of divine beasts' bloodline, so it was not a problem for him to practice secret techniques related to divine beasts. But if he wanted to practice demon clans' bloodline secret techniques, or control special bloodline magic tools, then there was no way. But he still decided to look for it. Even if he couldn't use it directly, he could use it as a reference. If he could prove that such a method really existed, then there was hope. They were both highly intelligent races, so what the demon clan could do, the human clan could also do. Where was your ancestor buried after he died? The myriad magic demon replied, at that time, my ancestor was besieged by 3 earth immortals of the human clan. Even if his strength was comparable to the earth immortals, he was still only a powerful expert. Under the siege of the 3 earth immortals, he couldn't escape and finally died. The upper echelons of the sacred clan buried some of his relics and the other sacred clan members who died in the battle in the myriad devil grave. I've told you everything I know, can you let me go now? Since the place where the demon clan was buried was called the myriad devil grave, there should be a lot of demons buried there. It would be very difficult to find the grave of the myriad magic demon inside. Help me find your ancestor's grave, and I'll let you go. The deeds of my ancestor were passed down from generation to generation. The myriad devil grave has a method left behind by the ancient demon clan. Even soul formation cultivators can't enter. Although senior's strength is high, but you're only a Yuanying. You can't break the restriction of the myriad devil grave. Don't talk too much, just take me there. Whether I can break the restriction or not, that's my business. The myriad magic demon didn't dare to say more, and could only comply. The myriad devil grave was not located in a remote area. With a local snake leading the way, they soon arrived outside the myriad devil grave. Wang Daoyuan took out the Xian cauldron, and put the myriad magic demon inside. Letting him go was impossible. The human clan and the demon clan were mortal enemies, there was no hope of coexistence. Killing the demon clan was the righteous cause of the human clan. In front of righteousness, personal integrity was not worth mentioning. In the middle of the decimating heaven abyss was a bottomless crack, but the entire decimating heaven abyss was not a neat crack. Even the width of the crack was different. When Beiyuan's sword immortal slashed open the decimating heaven abyss, it was not just a simple crack. Many mountains and spirit veins on both sides also fell into the decimating heaven abyss. The myriad devil grave was located in a valley that was not very big. It was surrounded by more than 10 small mountains. Although these mountains were small, each of them had a rank 6 spirit vein. The entire valley was set up with a defensive formation. However, the formation was hidden, and there was no way to determine its power. Wang Daoyuan took out the 5th rank high-grade sword puppet, Xian Ji, and controlled it to attack the formation, while he hid far away. The sword puppet waved its sword, and 36 sword shadows appeared in an instant. Under the sword puppet's guidance, the sword shadows gathered together, and attacked the valley at the same time. Suddenly, the dozens of mountains emitted a dazzling white light. The sword shadows fell into the white light, and disappeared in an instant. The power of this formation was much weaker than Wang Daoyuan imagined, and it did not have the ability to counterattack. More than 10 small rank 6 high-grade spirit veins, the power of this formation was only at the rank 6 middle-grade level. After all, it was just a graveyard. When this graveyard was built, it was when the war between the two sides was at its most intense. The demons would not pay too great a price to build a graveyard. Wang Daoyuan's 5 natal magic tools flew out, and quickly combined into Yinglong's devil-slaying sword. The 5 tool spirits stayed in the magic tools. Yinglong flew out from between Yuanying's eyebrows, and merged into the sword. He did not use any sword cultivation magic, and only controlled Yinglong's devil-slaying sword to slash at the formation. A sword hum like a dragon's roar sounded. On the mountains surrounding the myriad devil grave, a dazzling white light flickered again. Yinglong's devil-slaying sword was directly bounced back. The white light was only slightly weaker. Even at the peak of Yuanying's strength, using Yinglong's devil-slaying sword to attack still consumed a lot of spiritual energy. Wang Daoyuan extracted a large amount of spiritual energy from the space in the spirit pearl to replenish his own consumption. This formation was passed down by the demons, and was very different from human formations. Wang Daoyuan could not find its weakness in a short time. With his own strength, it was impossible to break through the myriad devil grave. When he came, Beiyuan's sword immortal said that if he could not solve a problem, he could use Beiyuan's sword intent. Beiyuan's sword immortal used Beiyuan's sword intent to resonate, and Wang Daoyuan could borrow part of Guiyuan's Sword Immortals' power. Even if it was only a trace of a Sword Immortals' power, it was enough to break this formation. Wang Daoyuan Guiyuan's sword intent was fully activated. Guiyuan's Sword Immortal, who was hundreds of thousands of miles to the west, laughed, "My little disciple is really troublesome." With that, his figure merged into the sword. The entire Guiyuan sword trembled slightly, and let out a sword hum. A moment later, a killing intent soared to the sky. South of decimating heaven abyss, the tall plum tree shook violently. Petals fell from the tree, and the ground below the tree was quickly covered in petals. Chapter 950. The falling petals did not cover the two elders under the tree, but the chessboard they were playing on was completely covered. The black-robed elder sighed, "Brother Guiyuan is really restless." There was no movement from the formation before, so there shouldn't be any demons above the soul formation stage causing trouble. The white-robed elder smiled. There was some movement from the masked devil's grave. Although it wasn't strong, there was a hint of Guiyuan's sword intent. Brother Guiyuan must have made a move because of the masked devil's grave. Besides, why bother with other people's business? As long as no living beings come out of the decimating heaven abyss, it has nothing to do with us. With that, he waved his sleeves, and a breeze blew past, taking away the petals on the chessboard. He placed another piece. In front of the masked devil's grave in the decimating heaven abyss, Wang Daoyuan naturally felt Guiyuan's sword intent, which was as vast and boundless as the ocean. Wang Daoyuan held Yinglong's demon-slaying sword tightly with both hands, and poured all of his strength into the sword. Under his guidance, Guiyuan's strength also gathered into the demon-slaying sword. Soon, there was too much strength in the sword, and Wang Daoyuan could no longer control it. He did not dare to guide the strength anymore, and instead controlled the demon-slaying sword to slash at the masked devil's grave below. Yinglong's demon-slaying sword emitted a dazzling yellow light, and flew towards the masked devil's grave. A dazzling white light appeared on the dozens of hills again. This time, the white light was not as powerful as before, and under the illumination of the bright yellow light, it disappeared like morning dew. As the demon-slaying sword fell, the hills around the masked devil's grave began to shake violently. Soon, the complex inscriptions on the hills began to crumble, and the masked devil's grave's defensive formation was completely destroyed by this sword. Wang Daoyuan was also shocked. Even a cultivator at the peak of the soul formation stage would have to expend a lot of effort to break through a sixth-tier array formation. He did not expect that the formation would be destroyed with just one slash, and there was no point in repairing it. Although he mainly relied on Guiyuan's strength, he was still the one who slashed with his own hands. Withdrawing Yinglong's demon-slaying sword, a wave of exhaustion washed over him. A peak Yuanian cultivator wielding strength that exceeded the peak soul formation stage. Even with Sword Immortal Guiyuan's assistance, it was still extremely taxing on his essence, energy, and soul. He immediately took out a jade bottle, opened his mouth, and drank the 7-leaf ghost face flowery dew. With the nourishment of the flower dew, his divine sense quickly recovered. The recovery of spiritual energy and qi and blood was very simple. He just had to draw out some spiritual energy from the space of the spiritual pearl. After being refined by the spiritual power seed, a portion of qi and blood could be converted. In just half a cup of tea's time, the consumed spiritual energy and qi and blood were completely recovered. His spiritual sense had also recovered by more than half. After all, this flower dew was condensed from the rank 5 7-leaf ghost face flower. Its effect was much stronger than the rank 4 flower dew. Now that he was able to use his full strength, he could enter the masked devil's grave without worry. In the small valley, there were tombs of various sizes everywhere. Roughly counting, there were thousands of them. Wang Daoyuan couldn't help but sigh. Those mighty figures and earth immortals of the human race were really ruthless. Demons of the Yang demon lineage had cultivated to the Mahayana realm. Even after death, their bodies would still be extremely powerful. If it wasn't dealt with properly, it might turn into a mountain. The Blood Demon Ridge, Demon Burial Mountain, and other mountain ranges in the southern wasteland were all formed by demons who had died in ancient times. Even the Een demons and Manadharma demons would have many anomalies in their resting places. At least thousands of demons had died here. There were also more than a dozen mighty figures and Mahayana demons, but there was nothing special about it. It seemed that the powerful demons of the past had been completely destroyed by the mighty figures and earth immortals of the human race. Even the strength in their bodies was not much left. Wang Daoyuan used an earth element spell to turn over the rocks in the valley. Many demon skeletons were exposed. These skeletons were of different sizes and shapes, but they didn't have much spiritual energy. The Manadharma demon he was looking for was already dead. There couldn't be any skeletons left. In the middle of the small valley, there were 6 small hills of earth and stone. These hills weren't formed naturally. They were piled up by humans. The spell from before had not been able to move these hills. There must be something extraordinary inside. Wang Daoyuan took out the Sword of Origin Restoration. It formed a giant sword shadow and swept toward the 6 hills. Some defensive formations did appear on the hills, but these formations weren't strong. Under Wang Daoyuan's full force attack, they were instantly broken. The tops of the 6 hills were all flattened, and 5 of the hills had huge bones exposed. The small mountain in the center was empty. There were no skeletons at all. Wang Daoyuan immediately flew toward this hill and used the earth-splitting technique to shatter it. A blood-red longsword was revealed below. This longsword was similar to the flying swords commonly used by human cultivators, but it exuded a strong smell of blood. The material was rather strange. Wang Daoyuan couldn't tell what kind of material it was. Judging by the spiritual energy fluctuations, the material should not be inferior to the Xian cauldron. His spiritual sense was actually absorbed by this long sword. Different demon clans used different magic tools. Blood demon magic tools were usually refined with their own blood essence. Een demon magic tools mostly had the effect of attacking spiritual sense. A long sword like the one in front of him was usually used by the myriad magic demon clan. However, the strong smell of blood and the ability to absorb spiritual sense were only possessed by blood demons and Een demon magic tools. This magic tool had the characteristics of all 3 major demon clans. Its owner should be that powerful demon. Wang Daoyuan wanted to put this magic tool away, but the longsword shot out several rays of blood-red light. He was only a Yuanian cultivator. He didn't dare to fight against a powerful magic tool. However, this magic tool had been ownerless for more than 70,000 years. Its power was much weaker than before. Wang Daoyuan summoned the Xian cauldron and absorbed the blood-red light. The Xian cauldron's artifact spirit appeared. It's been many years since I've eaten the spiritual energy of demons. This sword is rather interesting. It should also have an artifact spirit. If I can refine it, its grade should increase. Artifact spirits were formed by the laws of nature. By devouring each other, they could also increase their own power. Wang Daoyuan smiled. Since devouring it is beneficial to you, I can't just stand by and watch. Saying this, he poured a large amount of spiritual energy into the Xian cauldron. With Wang Daoyuan's spiritual energy, the Xian cauldron's aura increased greatly. It released a powerful suction force and swallowed the blood-red longsword. This blood-red longsword had been ownerless for tens of thousands of years. Its artifact spirit had long since fallen asleep. It could only resist by instinct. From time to time, it would release a few rays of blood-red light to attack. Unfortunately, it was not worth mentioning in front of the Xian cauldron. After a stalemate of more than 100 breaths, it completely lost its ability to resist and was absorbed by the Xian cauldron. Wang Daoyuan immediately put the Xian cauldron into the space of the spirit pearl. No matter how strong this blood-red longsword was, it could not escape from the space of the spirit pearl. After putting away the longsword, he continued to dig. Soon, he found a few more magic tool fragments, many of which still had some power. With Wang Daoyuan's current cultivation, these things really did not interest him. However, one of the magic tool fragments caught Wang Daoyuan's attention. This was a blood-red translucent irregular crystal, slightly bigger than a longan. There were obvious traces of fragmentation on it. This should be a small fragment of some magic tool. The material of this crystal was unknown. It was broken to such an extent that it should no longer have any function. After careful observation, he found that this crystal was constantly absorbing spiritual energy. Although it was very weak, it could not escape Wang Daoyuan's detection. Wang Daoyuan probed this crystal with his divine sense and found that it contained both spiritual energy and qi. Previously, the mid-stage Yuanyin devil had said that his ancestor could produce endless spiritual energy. It could be due to some kind of secret technique or some kind of special magic tool. It was normal for magic tool fragments to have spiritual energy. All spiritual objects had spiritual energy. However, spiritual energy and qi were not things that natural materials could have. It was also possible for magic tools to contain spiritual energy and qi. However, once the owner did not inject it, it would gradually dissipate. This crystal contained both essence, qi, and spirit. It had not dissipated for tens of thousands of years. It could also absorb spiritual energy. It was very likely that it had the function of transforming spiritual energy into qi, and spiritual energy. Chapter 951. Wang Daoyuan put the blood-red crystal into an interspatial ring, and then put the interspatial ring into the spiritual pearl. Then, he turned the entire hill over several times, but found nothing valuable except for some magic tool fragments. However, there was a saying in the cultivation world that divine objects concealed themselves. Some real treasures might look very ordinary. Even the spirit bead in the world of his previous life was just an ordinary glass bead. It was very likely that there were treasures hidden within these ordinary dermic artifact fragments. He carefully rummaged through the 6 piles of dirt and rocks, burning each rock with his spirit flame. After tossing and turning for a few days, he collected all the unnatural things. Then, he left the myriad devil's grave and returned to the Beiyuan sword Immortals' tomb. Whether this blood-red crystal had anything to do with the transformation of spiritual power into divine sense, he had to let Beiyuan sword Immortal determine. Half a day later, Wang Daoyuan came to the Beiyuan sword Immortal's tomb. Beiyuan sword Immortal appeared from the sword and said with a smile, "Your aptitude is not bad. You can actually control power close to the Mahayana realm. Although I helped you, it is still commendable. The place you attacked was the myriad devil's grave. Did you find anything there?" Wang Daoyuan took out the things he found in the myriad devil's grave. "I caught a few devils. One of them is a descendant of the powerful devil from back then. I heard that the powerful devil was buried in the myriad devil's grave, so I borrowed your power to break the myriad devil's grave's formation. These magic tool fragments were all found in the grave of the powerful devil." Beiyuan sword Immortal scanned with his divine sense. "I have seen these things before. They are all magic tools used by the powerful devil from back then. When I led people to attack the devil camp and killed these powerful devils, I destroyed some of the magic tools with my own hands." Wang Daoyuan took out the blood-red crystal and the blood-red sword. Beiyuan sword Immortal sighed. "After more than 70,000 years, I didn't expect to see this thing again. This is the item of the powerful devil with unlimited divine sense." Then, he picked up the sword and looked at the words engraved on it. These words were not human language. Wang Daoyuan could not recognize them. Mo Jun, that should be his name. I led people to kill him, but I never found out his name. Back then, I didn't fight him directly, but I saw the other 3 Earth Immortals fight him. Back then, he was holding this long sword and a blood jade seal. This blood-red crystal of yours should be a fragment of that seal." Wang Daoyuan cupped his fists and said, "Master, this blood-red crystal contains the power of divine sense and vital energy. I suspect that Mo Jun's limitless divine sense is related to this crystal." Sword Immortal Beiyuan had a look of surprise as he probed it with his divine perception. Mo Jun's soul dissipated more than 70,000 years ago, and I saw it with my own eyes. Even magic artifacts that could preserve qi, blood, and divine sense could only be preserved for a few thousand years at most. Although I am an earth immortal, I have never seen a treasure that can preserve the power of divine sense and blood essence for more than 10,000 years. Although the demon race was an intelligent race and had some unique aspects, overall, they were not much stronger than the human race. Mo Jun has been dead for more than 70,000 years, but a fragment of a magic artifact could still preserve the power of divine sense and blood essence. The only reasonable explanation is that this crystal can transform spiritual energy into divine sense and blood essence. After saying that, he waved his sword finger and cut off a sesame-sized piece of the blood-red crystal. "Give me the scarlet yang real fire." Wang Daoyuan drew out a wisp of the scarlet yang real fire and burned the sesame-sized crystal. This crystal was quite extraordinary, and it did not have any reaction for a while. Sword Immortal Guiyuan waved his hand and drew out a pure spiritual energy from his sword and merged it with the scarlet yang real fire. With the help of high-grade spiritual energy, the scarlet yang real fire immediately burned fiercely. Under the burning of the flame, the blood-red crystal finally showed some changes. Although it was not ignited, the entire crystal began to soften slowly. After half a cup of tea's time, the sesame-sized crystal had completely turned into liquid. Under the burning of the flame, the blood-red crystal began to emit pure spiritual energy. However, this spiritual energy was clearly different from the spiritual energy cultivated by the human race. It should be the spiritual energy of the demon race, and it was mixed with a faint smell of blood. Sword Immortal Guiyuan put away the scarlet yang real fire. This is the refining method of the blood demon race. This material is completely condensed from blood essence. However, the cultivation of the owner of this blood essence is too high, and the grade of your spiritual fire is too low, so you won't be able to completely burn it in a short time. Then, he picked up the large crystal and poured spiritual energy into it. The power of divine sense and blood essence in the crystal clearly increased, and gradually spread out. Sure enough, it seems that Mo Jun's limitless divine sense relied on his large seal magic artifact. This magic artifact was made with his blood essence, and it can also absorb spiritual energy and transform it into divine sense. However, we can't use this divine sense, and the other demons shouldn't be able to use it either. Otherwise, this method would have been spread among the demon race. Unfortunately, although you found the secret of that year, you can't replicate this method. Wang Daoyuan did not mind. As long as there is such a method, it means that there is such a law. Since the demon race has such a method, the human race can also do it. Master, I caught a descendant of Mo Jun. I wonder if his blood will be of any use. Since it's a hopeless situation, let's give it a try. Wang Daoyuan pulled out the myriad arts demon from the Xian cauldron. Just as he was about to beg for mercy, a tiger roar sounded and directly knocked him out. Then, Wang Daoyuan took out the soul fragment in Xian Bing's clone and fused it into his Yuanying. Sword Immortal Guiyuan was very interested. Your secret technique to control souls is quite interesting. Although it has the methods of the soul-devouring demon clan, most of them are still human secret techniques. The origin of this secret technique is very complicated. It was also obtained in the Qixing Si Shuxian community. The cultivator who first created this secret technique did indeed borrow from the secret techniques of the demonic cultivators. 3 days later, Wang Daoyuan's soul fragment completely controlled this clone. This guy was called Mou. What he had said before was true. He was indeed a descendant of Mo Jun's sword. Immortal Guiyuan gave the small crystal that had been burned previously to Mou's clone. This crystal was condensed from Mo Jun's blood essence. As his descendant, Mou refined this crystal into his bloodline. Perhaps he could inherit a bit of the bloodline talent of transforming spiritual power into spiritual power. Mou's clone swallowed the small crystal and began to refine it. However, there were no obvious changes. Wang Daoyuan gave all the blood-colored crystals to Mou's clone for him to refine. Sword Immortal Guiyuan asked, "You don't want to leave any? Even you can't see any clues?" There's not much use in leaving them. It's better to let you take a gamble. It's no big deal if he fails. However, if he succeeds, I'll be able to obtain another clone with talent comparable to Mo Jun. No matter what, I won't be at a disadvantage. Half a month later, Mou completely refined the red crystal into his body. Although this blood-colored crystal had been buried for tens of thousands of years, it was still refined from the blood essence of an almighty figure. It contained a terrifying power. Mou's cultivation was only at the middle stage of yuanying. It was not easy to digest the power within. After refining it into his body, his cultivation broke through to the late stage of yuanying. Unfortunately, his bloodlines still did not show any obvious changes. It was not like his ancestor, Mo Jun, who could transform spiritual power into spiritual power and blood essence. Wang Daoyuan was somewhat disappointed. It seems that to obtain this secret technique, I'll have to find a spirit demon. Master, what methods do you have to prevent a spirit demon from escaping to the underworld? Disciple wants to try. Since more than 10,000 years ago, the rank 5 spiritual power in Beiyuan disappeared. The cultivation of demon beasts and humans have been greatly affected. It has only been a few decades since they recovered to rank 5. The cultivation of the spirit demons in the extreme frozen ice field should also be greatly affected. With disciple strength, I might be able to catch a spirit demon below rank 6. Chapter 952. The demons of the Arctic ice plains were obviously affected by the decline of spirit qi, and there was only one great demon king before. In terms of overall strength, the demons were far inferior to the West Sea. Although there was no great demon king in the West Sea, there was a group of ancient mutants. Their growth potential was much higher than the semi-divine beast great demon king of the Arctic ice plains. Since the spirit demon was a demon beast of the Arctic ice plains, its cultivation would definitely be limited by the spirit qi of the Arctic ice plains. Sword Immortal Guiyuan nodded. According to what you said, it's unlikely for a rank 6 demon beast to appear in Beiyuan Xiuxian now. With your current strength, even if you don't use Guiyuan's sword intent, there are few below rank 6 that can match you. Coupled with the Xian Xian Cauldron, the spirit demon's divine sense attack shouldn't hurt you. However, the spirit demon's strongest point isn't its divine sense attack, but its ability to travel between the two worlds. Although the spirit demon is an ancient beast, it's not a species with outstanding strength. Even before the formation of the ultimate heaven abyss, there should be low-level spirit demons. Many mighty figures entered the Arctic ice plains, but no one has ever heard of anyone capturing a spirit demon. It can be seen that ordinary methods can't keep them. There are many ways to prevent the spirit demon from entering the underworld. I can use the great Tao I master to interfere with the connection between the two worlds. However, this method has a high cultivation requirement, and it can't be used unless one is a mighty figure. There are many other methods, most of which are to interfere with space. You can set up a high-level ceiling formation, and you can also use space-type divine abilities. If your domain divine ability continues to improve, it can eventually turn into a space very close to a mystic realm. If you can put the spirit demon inside, it might be possible to block its escape to the underworld. Wang Daoyuan was a little discouraged. With my cultivation, it's impossible to set up such a brilliant formation. In terms of domain divine abilities, I have consulted Divine Venerable Sealing Demon in the Heaven's Mystery Tower. According to him, to seal space, one needs to be at least at the peak of the Soul Formation realm or the early stage of the Mahayana realm. If you want to capture the spirit demon alive, you have to cultivate to the peak of the Soul Formation realm. Sword Immortal Guiyuan thought for a moment. It's very difficult to seal the passage between the two worlds, but it's still possible to make the spirit demon temporarily lose its ability to escape. If you can find something to restrain the spirit demon, it will be difficult for it to escape. Spirit demons were like souls and demons. If one wanted to restrain them, one had to find something that had the ability to restrain ghosts and was related to divine beasts. In this aspect, the Valley of Beasts has experience. You can ask Myriad Spirit's patriarch. The White Tiger clan among the divine beasts had a restraining effect on soul demons. The White Tiger Hall in the Valley of Beasts had once reared a real White Tiger divine beast. Now, there should be many White Tiger bloodline semi-divine beasts in the sky/mountain range. Go and capture a rank 5 White Tiger half-divine beast. It should be of some use against the spirit demon. With the help of the ceiling formation, there's still a possibility of capturing spirit demons below rank 6. Hearing this, Wang Daoyuan became spirited. I have a soul-devouring nether tiger bloodline, and it has already cultivated to rank 4 low grade. My Dao companion also has a mid-tier 5th grade blood-eyed golden-winged tiger. These two together should be of some use. Sword Immortal Guiyuan was taken aback. Soul-devouring dark tiger? Is this the guy who guards the entrance to the underworld? This was a mutant of the White Tiger race. Among the divine beasts, apart from the dragon race, only the phoenix race's bloodline was widespread. The White Tiger bloodline was extremely rare, and the soul-devouring nether tiger was even rarer. When the devil race invaded, the human race and the demon race joined forces to deal with the devil race. Among the people sent by the demon race, there was a White Tiger divine beast with earth immortal cultivation. I have some friendship with that White Tiger divine beast. According to him, the soul-devouring nether tiger rarely appears in the White Tiger race. Moreover, the soul-devouring nether tiger is unruly. Even if it appears, it usually roams around and won't stay in the White Tiger race. Back then, the Valley of Beasts obtained a few uni tigers. These guys have the soul-devouring nether tiger bloodline. The Valley of Beasts wanted to use this to cultivate the soul-devouring nether tiger. However, it was only cultivated to the peak of rank 3. It was very difficult to break through to rank 4. Most of the uni tigers had just broken through and had passed the optimal growth period. Their chi and blood declined, and it was difficult to improve. The soul-devouring nether tiger is the nemesis of all divine sense mystic arts. Unfortunately, the soul-devouring nether tiger bloodline you raised is only rank 4 low grade. If it can rise to rank 5, it should not be a problem to take down rank 5 spirit demons. As for the blood-eyed golden-winged tiger, it is not suitable. Although it also has the White Tiger bloodline, its talent is more towards the physical body. In terms of close combat ability, it is much stronger than the average White Tiger bloodline. In terms of restraining ghosts and divine sense mystic arts, it is not as good as the golden-eye jade tiger. However, the golden-eye jade tiger's White Tiger bloodline is too low. It is still lacking in this aspect. The most valuable time for divine sense power is in the Mahayana stage, used to fuse with immortal power. Your cultivation is still far from it, and there is no need to rush now. After that soul-devouring nether tiger bloodline is cultivated to rank 5, you can take it to the extreme cold ice field to try your luck. You don't need to ask me about the situation related to the spirit demon. The Valley of Beasts and Archaic Mysteries sect have investigated the spirit demon before. They have more specific records. Wang Daoyuan really did not expect that Yun Yi, this lazy guy, could restrain the legendary spirit demon. Raising a tiger for 1,000 days, using it for a moment. When he went back, he would put it into the space of the spirit pearl and let it cultivate well and strive to cultivate to the peak of rank 4 within 10 years. There was not much hope for it to break through to rank 5 in a short period of time. After all, the average uni tiger was only a rank 2 spirit beast. Uni now had a low-grade rank 4 cultivation and had broken through the limit many times. It was still very difficult to break through to the next major realm. There was no need to trouble himself with the array formation. The spirit pearl could play a great role. Previously, he could take down the peak rank 6 Xian cauldron in the Ziwei Hall. With Yun Yi's small divine ability, there should be hope to deal with a rank 5 spirit demon. Thank you for your guidance, Master. Since Yun Yi can restrain the spirit demon, disciple has some confidence. I will go back and prepare to go to the extreme cold ice field to give it a try. After saying that, he took out a Qingquan gourd that was more than a foot tall. Master, it's inevitable that you will feel bored staying here alone. I refined some spatial dharma artifacts that can grow spiritual plants and raise spiritual beasts. I left one for you to relieve your boredom. There is also a rootless fire of the 5 elements spiritual fire in this gourd. It can purify the chaotic and violent spiritual energy here. It won't be a problem to raise some ornamental spiritual plants. Sword Immortal Beiyuan took the gourd and probed it with his divine sense. There was a space of 1,000 feet in the gourd. In the center was a fish pond with a diameter of 10 feet. There were more than 10 Qing River carps in it. There was a bamboo forest, strange pine trees, and a small peach blossom forest around the fish pond. There were also more than 10 spotted deer and 2 ranked 2 white cranes. There were 5 pearls in the air. In addition to the moon pearl and the pure yang pearl, there were also pearls of the earth, metal, and wood attributes. They were all refined with reference to the moon pearl and the pure yang pearl. Among them, there was a rootless fire of the 5 elements spiritual fire. This gourd was refined by Wang Daoyuan when he was at the Blood Shadow headquarters. He kept it for Sword Immortal Beiyuan to relieve his boredom. He had guarded this place for tens of thousands of years without any living creatures to accompany him. It was quite boring. Sword Immortal Beiyuan looked at the scene in the gourd and actually revealed an excited expression. I've been guarding this place for tens of thousands of years. Other than you and your second senior brother, I only had a few stalks of grass on this grave as my companions. I haven't seen the scene in this gourd for tens of thousands of years. I really do miss it. I like this gift very much. You're very considerate. Wang Daoyuan smiled and said, "It's good that Master likes it. It's a rank 3 high-grade artifact. It didn't take much effort." Among the 5 pearls inside, there is a rootless fire of the 5 elements spiritual fire. Master, if you want to refine Sword Immortal Beiyuan, you can also use this fire to refine the chaotic spiritual energy. I still have to go to the extreme cold icy plains to investigate. I'll visit you again in the future. Sword Immortal Beiyuan waved his hand and said, "With this gourd accompanying me, I won't feel bored. If you have anything to do, go ahead and do it. There's no need to worry about me. If there's anything you can't solve, feel free to come here and ask me." Wang Daoyuan bowed again and again before leaving the heaven-ending abyss. Chapter 953. After accompanying Zhou Wan at the Blood Shadow headquarters for more than a month, he returned to Yen State. Arriving at the Imperial Study of Clear Glass City's Imperial Palace, Wang Mingshen was handling official business. Seeing Wang Daoyuan come, he hurriedly bowed. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand and said, "No need to be so courteous, I came to ask Myriad Spirit Ancestor about the Soul Demon." Wang Mingshen brought out the Myriad Spirit Pagoda, and Myriad Spirit Ancestor came out of the pagoda. "Daoyuan, did you find out something in Absolute Heaven Abyss?" Wang Daoyuan nodded. "The basic situation of that demon with unlimited divine sense power back then has already been figured out by me. I caught a descendant of his, and even dug up his cenotaph, and found something from it. That demon has the Myriad Law Demon, Blood Demon, and Soul-Devouring Demon bloodlines, and his blood has the innate ability to absorb spirit power and transform it into divine sense and chi and blood. It's just that the transformation speed is very slow, and it doesn't have much use in actual combat. However, it's still very valuable in daily cultivation." Later, he received the attention of the demon race's upper echelons, who helped him refine a large seal with blood essence, which could allow him to quickly transform divine sense and chi and blood. When the human race's major powers brought people to sneak attack him, he was completely destroyed, and the large seal was also shattered. I only found the fragment of that large seal from back then in his cenotaph, and it does have the ability to transform spirit power into divine sense and chi and blood. It's just that this thing is refined with the demon race's blood essence, and humans can't cultivate it at all. If you want to obtain the secret art of transforming spirit power into divine sense, you can only have the idea of a soul demon. The matter of that demon race's unlimited divine sense power back then was also considered a big secret among the human race's upper echelons. Myriad's spirit ancestor was also extremely curious about this. Back then, someone guessed that the demon race's unlimited divine sense power was due to bloodline. I didn't expect that they really guessed right. Right, is that magic artifact fragment still there? I can't use a single fragment, so I let that demon race's descendant refine it into his body, and see if he can inherit this bloodline talent. After he refined that fragment, there was no movement. He hasn't transformed all the spirit power in the fragment into his own use yet. Whether there will be a turn for the better in the future, I can't say. Patriarch Myriad's spirits felt somewhat regretful. It's a pity that I didn't get to see a legendary treasure. The spirit demon's ability to hide is extremely strong. Do you have a way to deal with them? I've also received some news. Legend has it that this soul demon is an ancient mutated beast. It was born at the intersection of yin and yang and can freely travel between yin and yang. The reason why the human almighties could not catch them was because they could escape into the underworld, and the human almighties could not enter the underworld as they wished. Therefore, no one had ever been able to capture a spirit demon. If he wanted to capture them, he had to destroy their means of going to the underworld. None of these methods are something a Yuanian cultivator like me can accomplish. On the other hand, Yun-Yi had the bloodline of the soul-devouring nether tiger. When her cultivation was higher, she might be able to suppress the soul demon. Coupled with the ceiling array formation, there was a slight chance of capturing the spirit demon. I want to give it a try now. The Valley of Beasts has been searching for spirit demons many times. You should know a lot about them, right? Patriarch Myriad spirits took out 3 jade slips. The soul-devouring nether tiger does have the ability to restrain divine sense mystic techniques. Unfortunately, Yun-Yi is only a low-grade 4th-tier cultivator. Her strength is still a bit lacking. A large part of the Valley of Beasts' Black Tortoise Hall's jurisdiction was in the Arctic ice plains. Black Tortoise Hall disciples often searched for traces of spirit demons. Those who saw traces of spirit demons would report to the Black Tortoise Hall master and the sect master. These jade slips recorded the traces of spirit demons. According to them, this spirit demon should be very interested in the souls of living beings. Most of the times when spirit demons were seen were beside some demon beasts that were about to die. I don't know if this thing wants to devour souls or guide souls for the underworld. When you reach the place where the spirit demons appear, you can try to use the spirit beasts that are about to die to lure them out. That's all I know. Whether you can catch them or not depends on your ability. Wang Daoyuan took the jade slip and left Qingli City for 100 Rivers Lake. The distance between the two places was less than 2,000 miles. For a peak Yuanian cultivator, it was just a short distance away. There were already many ordinary people living on the flat land along the 100 Rivers Lake. In order to increase the population, the Wang family had put in a lot of effort here. Most of the flat land that was dozens of miles away from the lake shore had been opened up into farmland. Where there was farmland, there was naturally no lack of ordinary people. The family had also estimated that if the entire 100 Rivers Lake's coastal plain was developed, it would not be a problem to feed tens of millions of ordinary people. Wang Daoyuan came to the 100 Rivers Lake to take a look at the situation. Yun-Yi, Wang Minglong, Wang Xianlong, and the Thunder Ape were all here. Their combined destructive power was extremely terrifying. Driving the flying boat around 100 Rivers Lake, he quickly found traces of Yun-Yi and Wang Xianlong. These two bastards were stealing spirit herbs from a herb garden by the lake. There were no level 4 spirit veins here, and the people guarding the estate were only at the foundation establishment stage. The two of them were level 4 spirit beasts, so it was easy for them to hide their tracks. Just as they were about to enter the herb garden, they suddenly found that they couldn't move, and their bodies were wrapped in a layer of black water spirit energy. Wang Daoyuan waved his hand, and the black tortoise purgatory flew them into the air. You two are doing this at 100 Rivers Lake? At this time, Yun-Yi's skin was thicker. Master, the Abyss Dragon and I are testing this junior's detection ability. If we can't even guard against our own, how can we guard against people with ulterior motives? Wang Minglong also nodded. Yun-Yi is right. We are testing the junior's detection ability. Wang Daoyuan snorted. Do you believe your own words? I asked you to subdue the demonic beasts in the lake. How is it going? Yunyi quickly explained, Master, don't worry. There have been no demonic beasts hurting people on both sides of Hundred Rivers Lake for more than 20 years. All the demonic beasts have been subdued by me, the Abyss Dragon, and the Mystic Dragon. The disobedient ones have been turned into barbecued meat. Since you've done your job and stole some spirit herbs, I won't punish you. Yunyi and Wang Minglong were relieved. Wang Daoyuan dispersed the black tortoise purgatory. Abyss Dragon, you go first. I have something to talk to Yunyi alone. Wang Minglong felt as if he had been pardoned. He directly revealed his dragonfish form and jumped into the Hundred Rivers Lake, disappearing in an instant. Yunyi asked with a trembling voice, Master, what are your orders? Wang Daoyuan smiled. Now you know how to be afraid? I'm not going to deal with you. I just need to use your bloodline talent. Now, you should cultivate well. Only when you reach level 4 upper grade can you help me. In the future, don't think about being a tyrant at Hundred Rivers Lake. Go and cultivate honestly. Before Yunyi could object, he directly put her into the Spirit Pearl space and headed north. Wang Daoyuan disguised himself as a middle-aged man and suppressed his cultivation to the middle stage of the Zifu realm. He also let his clone refine an ordinary level 3 upper-grade non-attributed flying sword. Then, he flew towards the north on his sword. It took more than a month to reach the extreme frost ice plains. At the southernmost tip of the ice plains, close to the sky/mountain range, there was a city with a radius of more than 20 miles. This city was called Snow Dragon City. This city had a long history, dating back to before the invasion of the demon race. Snow Dragon City was built by the Valley of Beasts. Back then, it was also the location of a branch of the Valley of Beasts. After the Valley of Beasts was destroyed, the power of the human race shrank. More than 10,000 years ago, this city was completely controlled by the demonic beasts and half-demons. Since the recovery of spirit qi in Beiyuan, the level 5 demonic beasts had awakened. The half-demons were completely suppressed by the demonic beasts. This city also became the demonic beasts' territory. After the reconciliation between the human race and the demonic beasts, many human rogue cultivators traveled to the extreme frost ice plains. Traces of the human race appeared in Snow Dragon City again. The demonic beasts of the ice plains were still friendly to the human race and did not deliberately suppress them. Now, there were many human rogue cultivators' shops in Snow Dragon City. The main forces in the city were the demonic beasts and their affiliated half-demons. Chapter 954. There had been many records of soul demons appearing in the vicinity of Snow Dragon City. This place was relatively close to the Yen Kingdom, and was only a few 100,000 kilometers away from Clearglass City. The Yen Kingdom had also set up a communication formation north of the mountains. Without leaving Snow Dragon City, one could directly contact Clearglass City. There was no better place than this place to search for soul demons. The Valley of Beasts had existed for nearly 200,000 years. Although Wang Daoyuan was the son of Providence, it was more likely that he would be able to catch the soul demon after such a long time. However, there was no way he would be able to catch one as soon as he arrived at the Arctic icy plains. It was best to first find a place to settle down in Snow Dragon City before making further plans. This was the first time Wang Daoyuan had come to the Arctic icy plains. This place truly lived up to its name. Snow Dragon City was located at the edge of the Arctic icy plains, and this place was completely covered in ice and snow. The ice-type spiritual energy here was extremely dense, and because of this, the climate was extremely cold. Not to mention ordinary people, even Foundation establishment cultivators would find it hard to survive here. Cultivators who dared to casually enter Snow Dragon City were at least at the Zifu disciple level. He followed behind several loose Zifu disciple cultivators and arrived at the southern gate of Snow Dragon City. On either side of the gate were 4 muscular men with wolf ears. Clearly, they were all half-monsters. Their cultivations weren't very high, only at the early Zifu disciple level. In front of the 4 was a middle Zifu half-monster with scales on his face. He seemed to be the leader of the gate guards. When the loose cultivators arrived at the gate, the leader walked forward. "Is this your first time in Snow Dragon City?" The loose cultivators were all at the early Zifu disciple level. Upon seeing a middle Zifu half-monster, they were all very respectful. One of the middle-aged cultivators cupped his hands. "This is our first time in Snow Dragon City." The leader nodded. "Report your name, pay the entry fee of 20 spirit stones, and receive an identity medallion. You'll be able to enter the city. You are all loose cultivators of the human race. Behave yourselves in the city. If you offend monsters or half-monsters, you'll lose your life." The loose cultivators hurriedly agreed, reported their names, and paid the entry fee. The leader took out several silver medallions without any decorations, engraved their names on them, and handed them over. "Drip a drop of blood essence on them. In the future, you can use them to enter and exit the city." They respectfully received the token and walked into Snow Dragon City. He walked forward. As usual, the leader asked, "Is this your first time in Snow Dragon City?" Wang Daoyuan didn't say anything. As soon as Wang Daoyuan entered the restaurant, a cultivator who looked like a child came up to him. "Senior, I'm really sorry. Our restaurant doesn't accept human cultivators below the golden core stage." Wang Daoyuan took out the token and revealed the dragon scale on his hand. The waiter had good eyesight. He cupped his hands and apologized. "Please forgive me for not being able to see that you have dragon blood. Please forgive me. May I ask if you want to have a meal or stay? Give me 2 jars of good wine and a few of your best dishes. Also, prepare a good room for me." Then, he sat down at an empty table. The latent dragon restaurant served the dishes very quickly. In 15 minutes, 5 to 6 dishes were served. The ingredients were mainly some low-level demon beast meat and some ice attribute spirit plants unique to the extreme frost icy plains. Although the demons were the rulers here and the half-demons were second, not all demons were rulers here. Some demons with no potential were still hunted down by demons, half-demons, and even humans. Wang Daoyuan ate and drank while listening to the half-demons in the restaurant. Unfortunately, the half-demons in this restaurant were basically at the Violet Palace realm. There were too few things they could come into contact with. Wang Daoyuan had been eavesdropping for more than a month and only had some understanding of the situation around Snow Dragon City. Although he didn't get any information about spirit demons, he heard a lot of information about the internal strife of the demon race. When the human race and demon race were negotiating, Wang Daoyuan made a huge concession to the demon race of the extreme frost icy plains in exchange for the demon race of the extreme frost icy plains not supporting the demon race of the heaven/mountain range. The demon race of the heaven/mountain range was alone and under the pressure of Wang Daoyuan. They gave up their territory to the west of the heaven/mountain range. Now that the human race was powerful, the demon race didn't dare to find trouble with the human race. The demon race of the heaven/mountain range could only vent their anger on the demon race of the extreme frost icy plains. Although the two sides didn't start an all-out war, there were still many small fights. Snow Dragon City was close to the heaven/mountain range and was inevitably affected. 2 months later, Wang Daoyuan ordered a few dishes and 2 jars of good wine as usual. Just as he was eating and drinking, 3 injured late-stage Zifu disciple half-monsters walked in. A muscular man with silver draconic scales on his face called out, "Waiter, bring out all the good wine and dishes. I killed a few demons of the heaven/mountain range and received quite a few rewards. I have plenty of spirit stones." The waiter hurriedly called out, "Thank you for your hard work, my lords. The wine and dishes will be served immediately." A few dozen breaths later, the waiter brought over a few jars of wine. The 3 half-monsters each opened a jar of wine and began to drink. After drinking a jar of wine, the three half-monsters began to brag. The muscular man with draconic scales on his face laughed loudly. The demons of the heaven/mountain range are a bunch of trash. 10 rank 3 gold-striped tigers surrounded the three of us. Not only were they unable to take us down, they even killed 7 of them. A nearby half-monster with golden bull horns on his head laughed. Big Brother Silver Flood Dragon is still the formidable one. He was able to take on 6 gold-striped tigers by himself. Otherwise, Brother Bear Mountain and I would have found it very hard to kill the other gold-striped tigers. The two of us toast to Big Brother Silver Flood Dragon. After speaking, he and the other half-monster who looked like a black bear raised their jars of wine and toasted Silver Flood Dragon. Chapter 955. Wang Daoyuan had killed quite a few golden-striped tigers before. Although they were tiger-type demon beasts, they didn't have the white tiger bloodline and weren't very talented. Ordinary golden-striped tigers could only grow to high-grade Tier 2. It was rare for them to reach Tier 3. The 10 golden-striped tigers they had dealt with were all low-grade Tier 3. If 3 late-stage Violet Palace half-demons had powerful Dharma artifacts, it wouldn't be difficult for them to deal with 10 low-grade Tier 3 golden-striped tigers. The 3 half-demons bragged to each other, and Wang Daoyuan also heard a lot of information. For example, the location of the conflict between the heaven/mountain range and the Arctic Plains demon beasts, as well as the scale of the conflict. After hearing this, Wang Daoyuan fell into deep thought. He learned from Patriarch Myriad Spirit that the places where soul demons appeared were mostly filled with dying demons. He didn't know what they were doing with the souls of those demons. If he wanted to find dying demons, the battlefield was the most suitable place. The heaven/mountain range was where the Ice Plains demon beasts and the heaven/mountain range were most likely to have soul demons. Wang Daoyuan decided to follow these 3 guys and stroll around the battlefield a few times. Maybe he could really attract spirit demons. No matter what, it was still a hope. It was difficult to find out about soul demons among a group of Violet Palace half-demons. After making up his mind, he took a jar of wine and came to the table where the 3 half-demons were sitting. "Greetings, Daoyu." The silver Wyrm glanced at him and saw the fine dragon scales on his hand. "So you're from the same clan and your bloodline is quite pure. What's the matter, Daoyu?" Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands and said, "I'm Jin Lin. I've been traveling for many years and came to Snow Dragon City not long ago. I don't know how to earn cultivation resources. After hearing Daoyu's words, I think I have some strength and want to follow you to kill the demons in the heaven/mountain range. I wonder if you 3 fellow Taoists would be willing to accept me?" The 3 half-demons looked at each other before the silver Wyrm said, "Daoyu's bloodline is pure, so your combat strength must be quite high. At least you won't be a burden to us." It was just that doing this kind of work was like having one's life on the line. They could lose their lives at any time. This time, we were besieged by 10 golden-striped tigers. If we hadn't used our life-saving methods, we might have died. The 3 of us aren't good at anything else, and we don't have any backers. If he wanted to obtain enough resources, he could only risk his life. If Daoyu has another way out, it's better that you don't get involved in this." Wang Daoyuan sighed. If there really was a way, we wouldn't have come to the Arctic Ice Plains. I was originally born in a half-demon tribe. Back then, the northern mountains were in chaos and my tribe was destroyed by the flames of war. I was lucky enough to survive. Unfortunately, he did not have any skills, so he could only wander around. A few years ago, when he was traveling in human territory, he had a conflict with other half-demons and accidentally injured a half-demon from the Green Dragon tribe. As you all know, the Green Dragon tribe has pledged allegiance to the Yen Kingdom. Now, the tribe leader has become the governor of the Yen Kingdom's Falling Stars County. I offended the Green Flood Dragon tribe and won't be able to survive over there. As I wandered around, I didn't even have a complete inheritance. If I want to increase my cultivation, I need to spend a large amount of resources and time. Where would I have the time to learn any skills? The silver flood dragon patted his shoulder. We're all in the same boat. Although we half-demons have strong bodies, we still don't like the environment of the Arctic ice plains. If you can survive in the south, who would want to come here? Fine, we'll take you in. Wang Daoyuan's face was pleasantly surprised. He raised his wine jar. Many thanks to 3 brothers for taking me in. Little brother toasts to 3 brothers. After the 4 finished eating and drinking, the silver flood dragon smiled. The 3 of us have a small courtyard in Snow Dragon City. If brother Jean Lin doesn't have a place to stay, you can come and stay with us. Anyway, the courtyard is spacious enough. There's no difference between 3 people and 4 people. Wang Daoyuan cupped his hands. If that's the case, it would be impolite for little brother to refuse. After paying the bill, he left with the silver flood dragon and the other 2. They came to a small courtyard in the south of the city. This small courtyard was only 10 feet square. There were 5 or 6 rooms in the courtyard. Wang Daoyuan randomly picked an empty room to stay in. After staying in this small courtyard for more than a month, the injuries of the silver flood dragon and the other 2 had more or less recovered. The 4 of them gathered together. The silver flood dragon said, "Brothers, we've recuperated for a month. We've also prepared some magic tools and pills. It's not a good idea to stay idle like this. How about we go out and hunt the demons of the heaven-beheading mountain range?" Jin Jiao and Xiong Shan had no objections. Wang Daoyuan was eager to go out and hunt demon beasts as soon as possible. Naturally, he also had no objections. The 4 of them immediately set off. After leaving Snow Dragon City, they headed toward the northeast. After flying for more than 6,000 miles, they arrived near the main vein of the heaven-beheading mountain range. They landed in a small valley with a radius of 100 miles. Although this place was in the Arctic ice plains, due to the influence of the heaven-beheading mountain range's spiritual vein, there was not much ice and snow. There was no snow in the valley. It was a scene full of vitality. The silver flood dragon said with a smile, "In the west of the heaven-beheading mountain range, the demons of the ice plains have the advantage. Most of the demons of the heaven-beheading mountain range fled to the east. However, the low-level demons did not have the ability to do so. They did not have the ability to cross the heaven-beheading mountain range. They could only stay here. However, most of the nearby areas were covered by ice and snow. Those demons with their cubs had to find places like this valley to avoid the cold. We only need to wait here for a few days. There will definitely be rank 3 demons coming to die. We can casually take down a few demon beasts and each of us can earn hundreds of thousands of spirit stones." Subsequently, the 3 of them used their hiding methods and hid in various parts of the valley, waiting for the demons to appear. After waiting for 5 or 6 days, a demon beast finally appeared. This was a small pack of howling moon wolves. There were 5 big wolves and 2 small wolves in total. After the howling moon wolves reached adulthood, they would have a cultivation of middle rank 3. Some of them could break through to rank 4. In this pack of wolves, there were 2 high rank 3 howling moon wolves. They should be the Wolf King and Wolf Queen. The other 3 adult howling moon wolves only had a cultivation of middle rank 3. The 2 small wolves only had a cultivation of high rank 1. The silver flood dragon sent a voice transmission to the other 3. This pack of wolves is not weak. However, with our strength, we can still deal with them. Brother Jin Jiao and I will deal with the Wolf King and Wolf Queen. Jin Lin and Xiong Shan, you 2 deal with the 3 middle rank 3 wolves. I don't expect you to win. Just delay them for an hour. After I kill 1 howling moon wolf, I will be free to destroy the entire pack of wolves. If those 2 small wolves can be captured alive, we can definitely sell them for a good price." The 3 of them immediately replied through voice transmission, indicating that they agreed with his plan. Subsequently, the silver flood dragon and Jin Shan quickly rushed out and entangled the Wolf King and Wolf Queen. The other 3 adult howling moon wolves wanted to surround and attack, but Wang Daoyuan and Xiong quickly rushed out and entangled the 3 howling moon wolves. Wang Daoyuan did not deliberately hide his strength. His 2 hands turned into dragon claws and used the true dragon body tempering technique's accompanying spell. Killing a middle-rank 3 howling moon wolf was naturally an easy task. After fighting for less than half a cup of tea's time, Wang Daoyuan easily dealt with 2 howling moon wolves. Xiong was also at the late stage of the Zifu realm, and his fighting strength was not weak. He also dealt with 1 howling moon wolf. Subsequently, the 4 of them surrounded the 2 howling moon wolves. After 100 breaths, they successfully finished the battle. The 2 small wolves could not escape and were caught by the silver flood dragon. I didn't expect Jin Lin Daoyu to be so powerful. Especially his body, it can actually surpass demonic beasts of the same rank. 5 third-rank demonic beasts and 2 live wolf cubs. Selling them for 2 to 3 million spirit stones shouldn't be a problem. It should be enough for the 4 of us to live freely for a period of time. The 4 of them chatted and laughed as they left the small valley and headed towards Snow Dragon City. At this moment, 2 faintly discernible shadows appeared at the place where they were hunting demonic beasts. One of the shadows asked, "There is something wrong with that kid with the dragon claws. His dragon claws don't seem to be innate. Instead, it seems to be a special body tempering technique." The other shadow also said, "There is indeed something wrong. His body is ridiculously strong. It is impossible for a Zifu realm human or half-demon to cultivate their body to such a level. This person must be hiding a big secret. Should we chase after them and deal with them?" You're tuning into the Biyao's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.